Do you remember Rabsy Nesbitt?
Rabsy Nesbitt.
Rabsy Nesbitt. What are you doing? You're buttoning up your top button?
The first time ever I've wore a t-shirt under a shirt.
Well, it's a Rabsy Nesbitt. It's not a t-shirt. It's one.
It's just a t-shirt under a shirt.
It's not a t-shirt. It's a Rabsy Nesbitt one. It's the one that shows the big hairy chest.
I don't have a hairy
See
chest.
the wee thing? I just seen the wee bit over and it says it's not a t-shirt. It's a Rabsy one.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's fine.
You fairly buttoned up the button, didn't you?
It's gone now.
No, it's disappeared.
Anyway, thank you for that. I'm
pleasure.
complimenting you on how smart you look today.
No, I am not smart. Same stuff on me. Do you know?
Michaela, did you enjoy your time in the UAE?
Yeah, I loved it.
I take it you've had the joke.
The joke?
The joke.
No.
You were in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, right? Mm-hmm. You know the joke.
No.
What's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi?
I don't know.
The people in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people in Abu Dhabi do.
Very good. That's what I've landed back to.
You're good.
Do you know how long I've been waiting for someone to go to Dubai and Abu Dhabi and come back? That's
not
literally
bad. That's
20
good.
years I've been waiting. Finally.
Oh my goodness.
Monday, the 4th of
You
December.
were over there broadcasting live, weren't you?
From Dubai, yeah.
That's right, eh?
No, those were the glory days.
Yeah.
Anyway. Right, you can go now. I'm never ever wearing.
You're looking good. You're looking
a
sharp. I'm going to
t-shirt
look
again.
after you. Don't wear your
Good luck.
Rabsy again. That's all right. Cozy. Good luck.
All right, then, 9 o'clock, a minute past, in fact. Let's get a news update now, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Investigations are continuing into a house fire in Letterkenny yesterday evening. It's believed one property has been damaged as a result of the blaze. Emergency services attended the scene and brought the fire under control. Gardaí have confirmed that no one was injured and that inquiries are ongoing. Donegal has been badly served in terms of the number of Gardaí. That's according to Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, who was speaking following the latest JPC meeting, which heard there are currently 432 Gardaí of all ranks in the county, 46 more than in 2017, and with double the support staff. However, Deputy Doherty said a snapshot over a longer period of time shows Garda numbers are in fact down. He says the lack of Gardaí is hampering investigations into alleged fraud in Donegal. Deputy Doherty says the county should be treated equally in terms of the deployment of Garda resources.
We can see of the over 250 Gardaí that were deployed in different stations this year so far, only 3 of them have come to Donegal. There's another 150 to be deployed statewide in the next 2 weeks, and the Chief Super has no notification whether any of them are coming to Donegal. And what I'm making the point very clearly is Donegal has been badly served in terms of the number of Gardaí. We have issues of rural crime just like anywhere else.
The Mallinhead Coast Guard says the rescue operation yesterday on Lough Foyle highlighted the importance of having a properly registered personal locator beacon and knowing how to use it. 4 fishermen were rescued after their vessel overturned on Lough Foyle. The Maritime Rescue Sub-Centre in Mallinhead, Belfast Coast Guard and Portrush Lifeboat were launched shortly after 20 to 2 following reports of a PLB being activated when a 30-foot vessel fishing herring overturned. The casualties were located and recovered by the Greencastle Coast Guard and transferred to hospital by the Rescue 118 helicopter. Mallinhead Coast Guard says the PLB ultimately saved 4 lives. Ireland is under fire for being used to funnel €5.7 billion to finance agribusiness and fossil fuels in the global south. That's according to a new Action Aid report revealed at COP28. It's criticising European banks for providing €281 billion to agricultural activities in the region. Action Aid Ireland CEO Carol Balfe says funding fossil fuels affects the least well-off countries.
This leads to an increase in dependence on fossil fuels. We see deforestation, land grabs, water pollution and worsening climate change. So it just simply doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, the other thing in our research that we're showing that Ireland has a role to play in this, and it's a very problematic role.
Weather now, ice gradually clearing this morning. There will be a mix of sunshine and scattered showers today with the chance of a few of hail or sleet mainly over higher ground. Highest temperatures of 3 to 7 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website highlandradio.com. Good morning.
The Department of Social Protection is working to improve disability payments in Ireland. There is currently a consultation on how these payments might work better in the future. we want to hear your views on how the system might be improved. To find out more, please visit gov.ie/disability payments reform. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good Monday morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 4th of December 2023. How are you all keeping? How was your weekend? I hope it was good. I hope you enjoyed yourself. You were able to enjoy yourself, and we look forward to your company now for the next 3 hours on your 9 till Noon Show. The lines are open for you. If you want to get involved in the conversation, start your own, pass on some information, some good news if you wish. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. From outside the Republic, of course, that's 0035386 60 25,000. And your phone calls into us on 07491 25,000. You can comment across our social media as well. If you're on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, you can watch us on your big screen, your Fire Stick, or across your mobile devices. And we're on our Facebook pages as well, so good to have you with us. We're on X too. Though that's pretty much the only involvement with X that I kind of fancy it any longer. But anyway, that's a different story altogether. Right, let's have a look at what's making the front pages. Oh, by the way, a little later on today, we are going to give you one of 4 chances to win a fantastic Christmas hamper from Cadbury. If you like your chocolate, stick around because this is a cracker of a hamper. We've got one of those each day this week up until Thursday. And then on Friday, we have a €250 one-for-all voucher as well. So it's all about the giveaways this week. A little later on, Michael English will be joining us on the programme as well for a chat. We'll hear a bit of his music as well. So if you're a Michael English fan, stick around for that also. Right, let's look at what's making the front of the pages. This is a story we brought you last week. An elderly woman on the front of the Donegal News. An elderly woman living in her own in the Convoy area was left unconscious after she was attacked during an attempted burglary. A neighbour of the woman told the Donegal News that the victim was shaken up following the incident. It comes as Gardaí have been ramping up their winter operation in a bid to tackle the rising number of burglaries on the run-up to Christmas. The woman's neighbour, Carl Leaper, said on Wednesday night at around 6:30pm they heard banging but thought nothing of it. The woman next door rang me around 10:15 and asked me to come around. He said it was quite worrying because she had been struck, knocked unconscious, and thankfully she's got a very good neighbour there that she can ring and go on check on her. The Derry News this morning. Derry is experiencing a mental health epidemic and a cancer epidemic, according to a local health advocate. Maureen Collins, project manager with Hive Cancer Support, formerly Pink Ladies Cancer Group, said the situation was due to delayed diagnoses, screening and treatment. Hive unveiled the group's We Carry On mural on Strand Road on Thursday last. Maureen said people were also delaying going for routine medical appointments because they did not want to further burden the NHS. On to the Nationals now and staying with health. And some private patients are paying almost €50 more to see their family doctor than those in other parts of the country, with prices highest in Dublin. A new survey reveals how 1 in 6 are paying between €26 and €50 to see their GP, while over a third are paying between €51 and €75, with prices highest in Dublin. Some 2% are charged over €75, and Dublin is more expensive when it comes to GP fees, with almost half of private patients in the capital paying more than €50 compared with 33% in the rest of the country. And I know some of you listening are saying, well, that's if you can see a GP, because we often do get calls from certain parts of the county that say it's very difficult to get a GP's appointment, let alone how much you might pay for it if you happen to get that appointment. But anyway, Dublin most expensive. They don't actually then give the county breakdown as far as I can see. They just say Dublin is highest. I'll go through that article in a little more detail, but I do not spot any further counties to be able to tell you what the average is here in Donegal. The Irish Times this morning. The economic effects of United Ireland on voters' personal finances would have a crucial impact on their choice in any future referendum, according to the latest research. And I'm kind of interested in this because there was a few rounds of meetings where, you know, the prospects for United Ireland were discussed, what might it look like. And the point I was trying to make in some questioning during those interviews is that I think when it comes down to it, you know, religion, political beliefs and what have you, might not just be quite as important as you might expect, in that it's going to come down to, well, where will I go for cancer treatment, or how much will this cost me, or how might it affect my standard of living? Do you know, when people actually come down to it, and that's what the debate might surround, I think. And it seems this poll has backed that up. Almost half of all voters in Northern Ireland who expressed a preference, 43% of the total, said they would be less likely to vote for United Ireland if it meant they would be £3,500 a year worse off. Almost as many, 38% of voters in Northern Ireland, said they would be more likely to vote for United Ireland if it meant they would be £3,500 better off. The cohort includes 23% of voters from a Protestant background, and a third, 33% of voters, who described themselves as neither Catholic nor Protestant. The findings in the Republic are strikingly similar when voters are asked about the impact of a potential blow to their financial circumstances. When asked how it would affect their vote in a unity referendum, if they would be €4,000 worse off as a result, 44% said this would make them less likely to vote in favour of a united Ireland. So when it comes down to it, some of those decisions people would be making would be based off the reality of their financial situation. A really sad story, but one important to bring you, because it is an issue we've highlighted on this programme before. An Irish mother of 3 who travelled to Turkey for weight loss surgery last week has died. The young woman, who was a nurse, is understood to have died suddenly on Thursday. While the cause of death has not been formally announced, it has been reported she travelled to Turkey to have bariatric weight loss surgery. The woman, originally from the eastern part of the country, had been living abroad for some years. The Department of Foreign Affairs confirmed it is aware of the case and stands ready to provide consular assistance. At least 4 Irish people are now said to have died so far this year following weight loss surgery in Turkey. The government is growing increasingly concerned about the surge of people going abroad for cheap cosmetic, dental and weight loss treatments. And I think it would be important to see what the comparison would be in terms of those undergoing surgeries here versus Turkey, and the risk of that going wrong. Really, if we had that information, we could start really formulating important opinions. I think it's important that maybe the Department of Health actually sort of give us that comparison so people can make informed decisions. The Irish Daily Star this morning, and this is something we might talk about a little later on, because I know it affects many of you out there individually. Medicine shortages have reached a record high, impacting life-saving treatment, antibiotics and over-the-counter cough and cold medicines. The latest medical shortages index found shortages increased by 90% over a 12-month period, now impacting 323 products. And global trends now signal another winter of shortages in life-saving treatments, antibiotics and over-the-counter cough and cold medicines. It's really important now, I suppose, too, that we don't start hoarding stuff, because that would be a nightmare. But as I say, we'll talk about that a little later on. But are you struggling to get important medicines? 086 60 25,000. Let us know. 086 60 25,000. On to the Sun this morning. There will be no repeat of the spring cost of living bonuses package next year. In February, ministers announced a €1.3 billion boost aimed at helping hard-pressed families. This included a €100 child benefit bonus and a €200 one-off payment for OAPs and all other social welfare payments. But asked if the government will dole out another spring cost of living package, a public expenditure minister, Paschal Donohoe, told the Irish Sun, "No, I don't believe we will. By that point, I am confident we will have inflation well on the way down. Then, when we move into the early part of 2024, there'll be a further 2 energy credits of €150 available to households." So no further bonuses or payments from government. And inflation, whilst it goes down, it's still up. Do you know what I mean? If inflation goes down to 4% or 3% or 5%, it still means prices are increasing by those values. So it's more expensive to live. But I suppose they hope that other payments like wages and what have you will absorb some of that. And finally, in the Irish Daily Mirror, safety groups have expressed concern at reform of driving licences being proposed by the European Union, which would allow teenagers to drive heavy goods vehicles. The European Commission plans to allow 17-year-olds begin accompanied training to drive a lorry as part of a safety package of new legislation governing driving licences in the EU. The European Transport Safety Council wants the age to remain at 21 and the minimum age to drive buses and coaches to be kept at 24. But what's the difference between a 22 and a 24-year-old really in reality? But anyway, spokesperson Ellen Townsend said, do not lower the minimum age for any licence, but pay special attention to the heaviest vehicles where crashes can be catastrophic. I think sometimes, I don't think 17-year-olds should be driving HGVs, but, if you're good enough, if you're old enough, and that's surely what the testing system is for. But anyway, okay, let us take a quick break. 086 60 25,000 if you want to message us, of course, or if you want to give us a call. In fact, it's 07491 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year. McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores, with everything you need for a Christmas party to remember. Like 20% off a great range of wine and champagne, including Oyster Bay and Moet et Chandon. Perfectly paired with a delicious selection of cheeses, 2 for €8. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
I've been looking after Mum for a good few years now. It's been hard at times. It's been difficult to find time for myself. I've even had to stop work.
You've worked hard caring for others. Now the state pension can work for you. If you've spent 20 years or more caring for a loved one who couldn't care for themselves, you can now use the time spent caring to qualify for a contributory state pension. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at gov.ie/pension. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
Okay, the time is 17 minutes past 9. Carol joins us on the programme now. Excuse me. Carol, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, okay, Carol, we wanted to speak to you about a horrible incident that you experienced and that you came across when you came out from work. Tell us what happened and when it happened, actually, quite importantly, because you're looking for maybe the person responsible to come forward or any witnesses to come forward.
Yeah, well, I work in the hospital there in Letterkenny, and I'm usually there Monday to Thursday, so when I had come out of work, it would have been dark enough at time. Well, it was just kind of getting darker. It was after 4, half 4, 5 o'clock time, but I had noticed that the left-hand side of my car had been damaged, so it would have been as if somebody was trying space, and that's just the damage was done, but there was no note left on the car, and there was no but it was just, a big shock just to see the damage that was done on the car, just after a day's work, trying to earn a living and then having to travel home, just knowing that I had other costs now on me just to get the car fixed.
Yeah, and it's extensive damage too. It's going to need a new left wing by the looks of it, and also the door is damaged too. It's going to be hard to patch that up as well. You're looking for whoever is responsible to come forward, I presume, because as I say, you're in there working in the hospital. You come out after a long shift, and to come across that, it's sickening.
Yeah, and I think what probably hit me most when I was driving home, Greg, was, I was just thinking about all the families that are in the hospital there, maybe some of them dealing with really, really sick children, sick family members, maybe had received bad news that day, to come out to the hospital car park and to see that somebody had damaged their car and drove away. It's just horrific to think that somebody else would have to, deal with that on top of other stuff that's going on in their lives. I've been told that the damage could cost anything over €1,000 to fix, to be quite honest with you, and I have spoken. Now, I did ring Euro Car Parks at the time, but again, they took no responsibility. They put me straight on to hospital security. So although we're paying the car park and we're paying fees towards Euro Car Parks, they then hold their hands up and don't take any responsibility when there's damage done to cars then in the car park.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You start wondering, though, well, what actually are we paying for sort of a security guarded car park? I know, and I think, if you get away with 1,000, even 2,000, you'd be doing well, because it's right down the side of the car. Looks like someone was driving inwards or reversing out. They had to have known that they did this damage to your vehicle.
Yeah. That as you said, I sent you the video of the car, and it's the front passenger side wing, and there's a scratch going right back. The alloy of the wheel is even scratched as well. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of work going on up there at the hospital as well. I don't know, was it just somebody had reversed in? Now, security are still going through footage of the cameras. Quality isn't great on the cameras at the hospital.
It never is it? When you want access to CCTV footage, it never is. We can zoom right up to the moon and see the craters, and we can't bloody get cameras on the ground that can see what happens when someone scrapes your car or something. It's mental.
Yeah, and it's not the first time it's happened, Greg. I've been talking to a couple of and actually that day that I had reported it to hospital security, he had told me that they were dealing with another case on the same day. A consultant's car got at the back of the hospital, and again, they weren't able to find the person that had damaged their car. I have spoken to numerous friends over the weekend that the same thing happened. The people that had caused the damage wouldn't own responsibility, and they ended up having to fork the fees. Like, why are people getting away with this?
Yeah, because the truth of it is as well, you have your decision to make, because you could claim potentially off your insurance, but that's going to lock you into the same insurance company for years, plus you have a claim, plus the increased premiums, or you try and find that money in the run up to Christmas or post Christmas, either or.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us have $1 or $2 grand spare. And it's sickening as well that someone won't take responsibility, because the extent of the damage is such that it's very unlikely, no matter how stressed someone might be, it's very unlikely that they wouldn't know that they did this. It could be a high vehicle as well, given the fact that the damage is quite high up in your vehicle. But anyway, it happened on Thursday. There would have been crunching, there would have been scraping. Someone would have known they were doing this. So it happened sometime over Thursday.
Yeah, well, I would presume, because that's the only place I would be parked in that kind of an environment, because I'm in work from 8:15 until 4:15, Tuesday to Thursday. So that's the only place. Parking can be quite tight at times, but I always park in the same spot in the same area, because I'm there early. So the cameras are focused on that area of the hospital car park. So I'm just hoping. I haven't heard anything back, and I have been in contact with the guards. Again, I don't know if there's much they'll be able to do if it's not visible on the footage, but I was parked to the front of the car park near to the main entrance, so I would be in that front row, so it should be visible on cameras what's happened. But I'm just hoping in the meantime that if somebody knows that they did this, that it gives them a chance to come forward before they get a knock on the door from somebody else.
And hopefully they didn't realise it or whatever, and they would have been mad looking for you to get in contact with you, and we have your details if the person responsible wants to come forward. Your car is, what colour would you describe your car as? Is it sort of a grey, dark grey? Or?
My car, it would be the dark grey Ford Mondeo,
Okay. Right, okay. So, listen, if you want to do the right thing, especially in the run-up to Christmas, give us a call. We'll pass on Carol's details, and you're going back in to do another shift, so we'll let you at it, Carol, and appreciate your time. And if we hear anything, I'll let you know. You know yourself, okay?
Oh, that's great.
All
Thanks very much.
Take care, Carol. Thanks.
Okay.
Keep up the great work. Okay, that's Carol working in the hospital there. Came out after a long shift on Thursday. Her dark grey Mondeo, the side of the vehicle, for any of you who are watching the show will see the damage. It's really quite extensively damaged, and that's the good thing, by the way. If you can watch the show, if it suits you, we can show you the videos and the information often that we're talking about. But she's upset. She's paying to park there, and there's no real advantage, seemingly, to paying to park, is there? I don't know. Councillor Michael McClafferty, good morning to you, Michael. How are you getting on?
Good, Greg. Thanks. Good morning, listeners.
Yeah, it's sickener for Carol there, coming out from work, car damaged, at least £1,000. I would say if she gets away with 2,000, she'll be doing well. You've a comment about Euro car parks who manage that car park.
Yeah, I have, Greg, to be fair, and all sympathies for Carol and her damaged car there, obviously, and hopefully whoever has done it does come forward if they haven't realised they've done it. But on the situation there, as Carol touched on herself there when she went to the Euro car parks about it, they pushed her back, or passed her back then to hospital security. Well, if it is then that they feel it's hospital security's problem to see about it, that may be one thing, Greg, but on the other side of it, I would see it as then, if that's the way going forward, Euro car parks attitude is, whenever that contract is up or to be renewed, that money that's been collected in that car park there should be going back to Letterkenny Hospital. Letterkenny Hospital should be managing that car park themselves, anyway, from the word go, as all hospitals should have been. Because we have all these situations at the minute, hospitals struggling one thing or another, and that's a real game changer there. The amount of money would be collected there over the year would be something very substantial, no doubt.
What do you think what do you think Euro car park's responsibility in this type of situation should be then? They should be responsible for CCTV or what?
Well, I think they should, Greg, as such. It would be my understanding that all is word up until a few moments ago, what we heard about it there as such, in relation to the car park end of it anyway. You would take it as a given. If your responsibility is seeing about the cars, ticketing and so on, well, you'd imagine then your responsibility would be then, accordingly, the security of the cars as well, Greg, to be fair. Because, it's once again, we're back in the same situation again here in Ireland, passing the buck. I don't think it's acceptable this time, passing the buck to hospital security as such, to be fair. And as I say, going back to it again, this whole situation needs to be reviewed, and this does really cause a concern for review here as such. In my view, anyway, my personal opinion, Greg, anyway.
Yeah, because...
And I feel that the money... Yeah.
No, go on. You feel the money what?
I feel the money that has been collected should go back into the running / security of Letterkenny General Hospital, because obviously that money has been got from somewhere else anyway. So what more beneficial could it be than producing your own money as such outside your door and putting it back into your own services, or at least the service of security, helping outside the security of it. Going forward, like.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear from anyone else who had this experience, because every now and again we get calls from people who've had these issues, and not everyone's going to contact a radio station and say it, but I think this happens far more regularly than we might realise, you know. And we heard from Carol, her speaking to her colleagues and what have you. It's happened before, and of course it will happen again.
It has happened before, and it's happened again. And also, I know there some time ago as well, it's happened as well too. A nurse come out of A&E one night, her car was damaged as well. Like, you're back at the same thing again. I don't know now at the time what actually steps they took at the time in relation to it, or so on, etc. But the point is, her car was damaged as well, same as Carol's when she came out of work. Like, there's possibly more cars getting damaged as well, and they may not all make it to Highland, like Carol has quite rightly done this morning.
I mean, it's not a massive...
anyway, when people are going to...
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, it's not a massive money maker for the hospital either. You know, I just wonder if, you know, I mean, obviously they make something like 55 grand a year after all the other expenses are taken out. But I think people sort of expect that there's a bit of comeback, you know. But then again, is it not? It's not familiar, isn't it? It is familiar. Sorry, Michael. That if you go into a car park, you see the sign, you know, car park used at owner's risk. So I suppose that insulates the running of private car parks, those who are running them, from sort of any claims or responsibility, really.
It does, Greg, all right, you're right. The point well made that way. Yes, it does insulate them that way. But again, it insulates them in the fact that they don't have to pay out money for the damaged cars. That's the point of it. Like, for example, you go away to an airport or somewhere else, you go away for a holiday, you leave your car in a car park or wherever you leave it, you expect the car to be there when you come back.
Yeah.
As such, particularly if you're putting into a locked yard anyway, you certainly expect it to be as the way you left it when you come back. So Letterkenny Hospital is not entirely much different, apart from a few open gates, drawbar and so on going in. It's not immensely difficult, you would think, in today's age of technology and CCTV and everything else, to monitor the car park, monitor what's going on. There's also a situation as well. As our hospital, as any hospital, it's a very, very a very sacred place. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's not the place for things to be happening. It's anything untoward going on. So it should be CCTV all over it, for example, to see what's going on. If there's anything untoward going on, if there's anybody going in by the way either to break into cars, damage cars, so on, etc., which has happened, albeit granted as an accident as such, as far as we know. Okay. But at the same time, somebody could go in there at night time either and break into 50 cars. You know, are we going to say then, as hospital security in the next day when it's all found out about again? Like, it's at the stage now where the whole thing should be monitored.
Okay.
The hospital itself, I understand, has been monitored, the hallways and so on. So outside should be monitored as well for people's safety and peace of mind and so on when they're in the hospital getting whatever done, whether it be work or otherwise, and no fear of going out and your car damaged or so on, except for them, as obviously cars was and certainly more at the minute.
Okay, listen, Michael, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Councillor Michael McClafferty there. Any views? You know the numbers.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
If you need advice on what's best for coughs or colds, or what's best for sore throats or flu, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. If you need advice on the best vitamins and tonics to put a pep in your step, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. Whether it's about backaches, headaches, or tummy aches, your Brennan's Pharmacy team can help. If you need advice from someone you trust, we're here for you at your local Brennan's Pharmacy, Buncrana, Clonmany and Creeslough.
It's important to take care of yourself when you're feeling unwell. And if you have symptoms of a virus, flu, or COVID-19, the best thing to do is to rest up and stay at home. Because you won't just be taking care of yourself, you'll be helping to protect other people too. People close to you, like family and friends, and people you've never even met who might be at higher risk than you. And don't forget to visit hse.ie for advice on getting better. From the HSE.
This Christmas, dive into the magic of style with Green Shoes. Stocking all your favourite brands from Kate Appleby, Doc Martens and Birkenstock to Tommy Bow, New Balance and Echo. Or for the gift of choice, grab a Green Shoes gift card. Shop in store in Market Square and Letterkenny Shopping Centre and in Fulcara. Or online at greenshoes.com.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,550 must go. The snowball is €2,000 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
It's the Christmas cracker we've all been waiting for. Join Highland Radio for a star-studded Christmas concert on Monday the 11th of December in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Starring Michael English and his band, Claudia Buckley, John McNichol, rising star Jack Keogh and myself, David James. This is a Christmas night out not to be missed. Tickets €25 available from the Mount Errigal Hotel reception or online from the outlet at highlandradio.com. Dinner, bed and breakfast packages also available. That's the Highland Radio Christmas concert on Monday the 11th of December.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. John Gibbons is an environmental journalist and joins us on the programme now. Good morning, John.
Morning, Greg.
Thank you so very much for your time. Now, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar said the Minister for the Environment does not have a choice but to make a return flight from Dubai for a confidence motion in the Dáil this week. Eamon Ryan will have to interrupt his attendance at COP28 Climate Summit in the United Arab Emirates, but will return to the event following the vote tomorrow. Now, we want to talk maybe a little bit more generally about COP28, but this, in terms of messaging and trying to bring people along and to, you know, the importance of us being responsible and all, I don't think we can underestimate how damaging it might seem to some people that we have the Minister for the Environment flying backwards and forwards from Dubai for a vote. Can you see why that might rub people up the wrong way?
Of course, Greg. I'd compare and contrast his behaviour with, say, the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. Now, Sunak took a private jet, as did the King of England and as did David Cameron. So that's 3 private jets from the UK. Sunak spent 11 hours on the ground in COP and then flew home again, right, on his private jet by himself. Now, so he spent more time in the air, Greg, than he spent at the conference. So that was basically, if you want to talk about the proverbial virtue signalling, that was it. Ryan, on the other hand, whether you like him or don't like him, nobody will deny that he's deadly serious about climate and that he wants to be at COP. Eamon Ryan does not want to be flying back from COP to Dublin. He's required as a parliamentarian to do that. Now, I think it's really unfortunate that, for example, there isn't a pairing arrangement whereby another TD on the other side agrees to withhold their vote in exchange. But unfortunately, this hasn't happened. So if people want to blame someone, right, you got to ask the opposition why they haven't offered Eamon Ryan a pair to allow him to stay and do his job. And I would stress this, Ryan is not out in Dubai on a junket. He's not on holidays. He's there working on behalf of the Irish state at an incredibly important climate conference. So let's be really super clear about this. This is not a jolly, this is not a jamboree. This is a climate conference that will shape all of our futures, and we need our ministers there.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from in terms of attributing some blame to the opposition, but they might say, well, if the government Minister for Justice had got things right last Thursday week, then we'd never have to, and we could keep going on that for eternity. At the end of the day, though, they've looked at the numbers and they see it as they have to, that he has to fly back. But as I say, I just don't know how, I don't know how you could calculate how damaging this is. Over the weekend, people everyone's sort of going, well, I'm doing this and he's doing that. Not, he should do as he says, himself. And I don't think that can be argued or debated away. It's very damaging.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll put a simple proposition to anybody listening to this who's genuinely concerned about this and feels that this increased carbon footprint of Eamon Ryan having to do this is a genuine concern, right? All you've got to do yourself is to voluntarily forego, say, if you're planning to fly long haul this year to America, to Australia, right? Don't, right? And help offset the minister, because he's not there, as I said, in his holidays. He's not there in a jolly. He's there to represent Ireland at an incredibly important conference. We need our ministers there. And I think the problem, Greg, lies here, not with Eamon Ryan flying back to Ireland and back again. The problem is what kind of political situation creates that he's forced to do that? And and I know he would rather be in Dubai, on the ground, talking to people, getting the message across.
I get what you're saying, John, and I don't want to be argumentative because I don't want to come across as if I'm anti-climate crisis, which I'm not. But to suggest that rather than us being angry or frustrated with his actions, for us actually to try and offset his carbon footprint by cancelling a trip to America. Now, I'm not going to America. That's asking a lot of the general population, John, I think.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I suppose we put about 30 million flights a year through Dublin Airport last year. The aim is to increase that this year. How many of those flights are necessary, right? How many of them are completely frivolous, right? And I think you need to put that in context. And again, I'm not defending, if, for example, let's say that the COP process could be held over Zoom, right? In other words, we didn't have this flying. Would that be better? Of course it would be better. But that's not how these things work. You have to get together. You have to meet people. And I would stress, Greg, as well, it's very easy for people to be cynical about the COP process. And by the way, I'd be one of those people who at times is pretty cynical about the COP process. But I will say this, 2 things. Number one, it's the only show in town. It really is the only show in town when it comes to doing anything about the climate disaster. And number 2, this is what politics is about. This is how politics is done face to face. I mean, luckily we can take a call like today. I don't have to travel to Donegal to do this interview, right? But we're not negotiating. Thankfully, you and I are not negotiating the future of life on Earth this morning.
No, I get
so we
you.
can manage. Yeah,
I get you, and I'm messaging and bringing people along for the ride. I think it's critically important, especially when there are other voices, such as the hosts of COP28, who are saying that, there's nothing really wrong with fossil fuels. They're hosting it. They're one of the biggest polluters. The way they burn off gas into the atmosphere, absolutely horrific. And they are arguing that, we should retain fossil fuels, which is the music to the ears of climate deniers. But and at the same time, too, we're also using it, COP28, as an opportunity to lobby on behalf of the industry. They're making $5 trillion in profit last year, I believe. We're going to be donating, and I want to talk about this because I think it's important we do. We're going to be donating $25 million over 2 years to the new Loss and Damage Fund. How much of that $5 trillion of profits off the back of oil and gas production are they going to contribute? Probably not much when they don't believe that fossil fuels are a problem. And again, you see, as important as COP28 might be, and as this is the way politics works, it's so murky and contradictory that it pees me off that I can't light my nuggets of coal. if you know what I mean. They just won't burn. But I'm being a little bit facetious there. But it's what people, I think, kind of feel, John.
Yeah. Certainly, I think a lot of people, myself included, were pretty skeptical about, first of all, hosting a petrostate hosting the conference, and second of all, having the chief executive of the state oil company as the president. This is Sultan Al Jaber as the president. Now, we sort of suspended our disbelief, Greg, in the line of saying, well, we need to everyone inside the room. We also need the fossil fuel industry on board. However, you may have heard over the weekend a conference in which it was actually involved our own Mary Robinson, and said Sultan Al Jaber, and basically he came right out and said, we're just going to keep burning fossil fuels forever and ever, and if you don't like it, we're all going to end up back in the caves, right? Which is pure climate denier language, right? Of course there are alternatives. The problem, of course, for a state like UAE is they got rich burning oil and gas. And anyone who thinks they're voluntarily going to give that up and get poor by not burning oil and gas is deluded. So rather than accepting science and saying we'll go along with this and we have to limit it, basically the fossil fuel industry, and I might add the global livestock industry aren't far behind them, are fighting furious rearguard actions to make sure that we continue burning fossil fuels until the bitter end. And when I say bitter end, Greg, I mean bitter end.
Yeah, and I noticed too on social media, a lot of people upset with what we're contributing to the Loss and Damage Fund. And I'll just tell you what my way of thinking about this is. There's also a big conversation at the moment about migration and immigration, and what we are going to see into the future is people being displaced by climate change, that they simply can't live where they are. And as it turns out, where we live and across Europe at our where we sit on the planet is, the weather's really quite favourable. So we are likely to see more migration, more immigration, and one of the key reasons behind that is going to be climate change, because families are going to say, my kids are going to die if I stay here, so I'll do whatever it takes and I'll go wherever it is to keep them alive. So we have this Loss and Damage Fund, which presumably is to help the countries that are most affected by climate change. And I think that's a positive thing, to contribute that, to make their lives better so they can stay where they want to stay in their own countries and in their own homes. But that's how I see it. Do you see it any different than that? Because that's the argument I can see for, in terms of our GDP, it's minuscule, really, as big as it looks on paper.
Yeah, I mean, 25 million in the scheme of Ireland's GDP is a drop in the bucket. I mean, for example, we gave the the horse and greyhound industry for no particular reason, about three and a half times that in subsidies for 2024. So anyone who's worried about how we're spending our money, well, there's lots of places that we're basically throwing money at problems, whether they're needed or not. So let me briefly explain what we mean by loss and damage, right? This means basically the parts of the world that are currently getting absolutely hammered by climate change, but a crisis that they're not causing. Because, as we know, it's rich countries like Ireland with high emissions. So, for example, the average Irish citizen accounts for about 13 tons of carbon per annum, per person. So that's over a ton, Greg, of carbon per person per month here in Ireland, right? Compared to a global average of maybe 1.5, 2 tons a year. So we're way over contributing. Now, the purpose of this loss and damage is to help to compensate those countries for the losses they're already experiencing. The problem is, it's currently reckoned that those countries are experiencing about 400 million, but 400 billion euros worth of loss a year as a result of climate damage. So at the moment, the Loss and Damage Fund is worth about 400 million. So it's basically, it's 1,000 times less than the damage being inflicted by our lifestyles. So those flights that we were talking about earlier, our high emissions lifestyles, our massively polluting livestock sector. These are contributing to heating up the global atmosphere, which, as you correctly said, in the short term is causing the most damage, for example, closer to the equator. But of course, that damage will spread out and out and out, and eventually it will reach and overwhelm countries like Ireland. And also, Greg, you mentioned correctly the issue around migration. Now, the best studies that we have at the moment indicate that on our current pathway, by between 2050 and 2070, which isn't that far out, by the way, we're looking at between 1 and 3 billion people being forced from their homes, being forced to abandon their regions because those regions have reached a point where their temperatures are lethal to humans, right? And guess who's driving that crisis? People like us in countries like Ireland, like Britain, like the US, like Europe, like Japan. We're driving this crisis. Yeah. We're driving those people away from their homes, Greg. And what's our obligation to them?
And John, just to go back to the beginning then, and I want to return to the messaging side of these things. This is so important, and this is such a crisis as you see it, right? This is why I believe it is so important that people like Eamon Ryan, who are held in high regard for what they are trying to do, if he were to come out at a press conference and say, I've been put in a position here, right, whereby, and they're going to win the vote by more than one vote, I've been put in a position here whereby the future of the Irish government is at stake. But the issue with climate change is so important, people, that I'm actually not going to fly back home and then fly back out to Dubai. And I just think, that messaging would actually probably encourage people to go, you know what, actually, maybe we're turning over a new leaf. Maybe they are doing what they're asking us to do. But instead, we have ammunition for people who think it's a whole load of nonsense. And even those that are some way there are going, do you know what? Why the hell should I sacrifice certain things in my life when the government won't themselves? For right or wrong, that's not pro-government, anti-government. That's just exactly how I see it from the messaging side of things.
Yeah, again, Greg, I understand how you're framing the point, and I think it's a fair framing of the point. But I come back to the thing again. Number one, Eamon Ryan doesn't want to be doing this. That's no question. He could, as you said, he could make that he could take that position and do that. If, however, the government, you say there might be 1 or 2 votes in it, but we're both old enough to remember governments falling in Ireland over misunderstandings, right? Over guys getting practically missing the plane. So it does happen. And he has an obligation as a member of cabinet and senior government minister to make sure that his government doesn't fall. That's his legal responsibility as a minister. I'm not defending it. I'm just stating that as reality. And I make the point again, there are tens of millions of flights coming and going just through Dublin Airport. That's one airport among thousands. And as I say, if this is causing you concern, then the best thing you can do is to make a decision to voluntarily choose not to fly, to offset the flying that is necessary for this climate conference, right? You might say, well, that's
a big ask.
That's on. Maybe it's a big ask, but is it really? If we're serious about this, is it that big an ask? And I suppose and to be honest with you, Greg, for me, that's the bottom line here.
But
we're not that serious about it.
Exactly. And if we're serious about it, and if we're not serious about it, I'm not going to labour point. That reinforces exactly why I believe Mr. Ryan perhaps should do something different. But I also accept the points that you're making. And on that note, we'll leave it. So, John Gibbons, as always, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. John Gibbons is an environmental journalist there. What do you think? 08660 25,000, 08660 25,000. It should be noted, or can be noted, that all of the flights across all of the world account for less than 2% of the the negative contributions to the environment. It's less than 2%, actually. I think people might think it's higher, but or less than 3. I'll not argue with you about a percentage, but it's certainly below 3, and I think it's about 1.75, but it could be 2.75. Right. Listen, gonna get some of your comments and what have you after these.
Do you need help to make a healthcare complaint? Contact the Patient Advocacy Service. We are free, independent and confidential. We can support you through the complaints process for public acute hospitals and nursing homes across Ireland. Call us on 0818 293 003 or visit patientadvocacyservice.ie.
Suffering from hearing loss? At Kingsbridge Hearing Care in Ballykelly, our expert audiologists are ready to see you. Our brand new clinic location within Kingsbridge Northwest offers a full range of hearing aid provision, including enhanced hearing assessments and earwax removal treatment. So what are you waiting for? Don't let hearing loss hold you back. Call us on 028 7707 6050 or visit kingsbridgehearingcare.co.uk to book your appointment today.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back. With 1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won, it's the biggest ever. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
Merry Yuletide, one and all. At TK Maxx, you can spoil all your loved ones with big brand gifts that are always up to 60% less than the RRP.
I'm going to need a bigger basket.
Fabulous gifts literally everyone will love. From kids' toys, designer jewellery to luxury candles. Big gifts, small prices. In store this Christmas at TK Maxx.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Now, the weather forecast. Fog, frost and ice will clear through the morning to leave a cold day with spells of winter sunshine. Plenty of dry weather with just well-scattered showers, some which may turn wintry. Highest temperatures of 3 to 6 degrees. Now, we were reading in the papers this morning of another person, sadly, who travelled to Turkey for weight loss surgery, and it would appear from reports that, very sadly, the lady has died during the process, died suddenly. Mary joins me on the programme now. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing okay. What have you got to say on this story, this issue, Mary?
Well, firstly, condolences to the family. Well, I just wanted to point out, and your story, the first thing was the death in Turkey, and then the next thing, the government's concerned, really, the tablets and shortage of. And it just kind of made me want to ring in and say, I think they're selective in what they're concerned about. I had surgery in Turkey, so I'm speaking from personal experience. I had all my teeth done in Turkey 12, 13 years ago without any issues at all. And several people have asked me for advice where to go when I've given it to them. A number of years ago, I had multiple abdominal surgeries. It left me with a rather large hernia. And it was 4 years with that hernia, and because I'm a bit overweight and I have an airway issue, the risk of repairing the hernia was ruled out. So they eventually did the surgery in a fairly local hospital, and I won't name it, but basically they inserted a mesh, and to me the mesh was infected from day one. I was left with 4 open sinuses in my abdomen that oozed and had to be dressed every second day, and I was left like that for 6 years. I was discharged from the hospital. Twice I was admitted to another hospital with sepsis, and I have to say I could do nothing but praise the surgeons in that hospital, but they were only a level 3 hospital and they couldn't do the surgery because of my airway issues. I was referred from there to Dublin, and I was palmed off because of my airway risk, and again I was a bit overweight, and I was referred to another hospital and another specialist who could do this surgery, and the same thing, I was palmed off again. So I was left last year, and at the bottom of the ladder, really. I had nowhere else to go. So I went to Turkey, and I saw a bariatric surgeon there. He spoke perfect English. He worked in the south of England, in the bariatric centre there. He also worked in France, and he had perfect English. He saw me on a Thursday. He admitted me on the Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Because of my airway problem, the ENT specialist was on site. I went to theatre at 12 o'clock. I was back at 4. I was discharged on the Friday evening. My wound was closed. My mesh was removed. And what I was told and shown on the CT scan was that my gallbladder was about to burst with infection, which I'd never been told here. Nobody here had identified that. So I'm giving the counteract. I'm not saying, I'm going back to Turkey twice a year, and I meet people at the airport constantly, and they keep in touch with me. And I've met several, I would say at this stage, probably over 100 people who've had successful surgeries in Turkey and teeth done in Turkey, and that's only me, one person.
And just on that, Mary, it's remarkable your persistence, because an awful lot of people, perhaps once they were told that, because of there are other issues that the surgery couldn't take place, a lot of people would have given up. And you just wonder if you had, where would you be now if you hadn't sort of gone?
I would be dead and buried, Greg. I would be dead and buried, because the last time I was admitted with sepsis, the surgeon was with me literally 24 hours in the high dependency unit, and he told me he didn't know if he could take me back from it a third time.
Wow.
That is fact. So I didn't have a choice but to go and search elsewhere. Northern Ireland wasn't an option because the cross-border thing didn't apply, because my case was a kind of a rare case. If you're going to have hip replacement or something, there's a code that you get, and then that's kind of the price is on that.
Yeah, yours was complex and complicated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
So they couldn't give me a code, so cross-border was out of the question. So I just felt if I was going to live, and I spent 5 days in life support in 2010.
Unbelievable.
So life's very precious, and I was going to take the chance. Had I died on the table, I was happy to kind of take that risk. But as I say, there is bad and good, and I suppose in every country, Greg. There are clinics that shouldn't be operating in Turkey, the same as there are hospitals and consultants, and we've seen it here, where maybe they shouldn't be any longer on the register. I'm not saying that there isn't mistakes made, that there isn't issues, but I don't like to hear that it's all bad. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think I said too after that article, I'd like to see some comparison data. Do you know what I mean? Because
yes, you did, and that's why I kind of wanted to ring in, because I watched Micheál Martin saying in the news last night there's 12 people died in the last year, and I'm not saying that's a lie. I'm not suggesting for a minute that it's not true.
And one is one too many, but yeah.
Yes, but what if we looked at the papers and the numbers here? How many people have died through neglect? Our A&Es are packed out. We don't have enough doctors. I think the last I heard was that there were something like 90 nurses short in Letterkenny, on the campus, not just in the hospital, but on the campus. So, those are the concerns that I think need to be aired as well. Turkey, like every other country, there's people going to Bulgaria, Prague, Poland.
But just Mary, I wish I had more time, but you've had to have aftercare though, and it is presumably the Irish Health Service that has been providing your aftercare.
I only needed aftercare. I was called back to a local clinic, and I won't name that surgeon, but I was called back to him prior to having my surgery in Turkey. He'd seen me, and he said, "I'll call you back in 6 months or whatever." So I was under him anyway. But when I went back and had my surgery, when I said I had it done in Turkey, his jaw hit the ground, and he goes, oh my God, she didn't, and he was shocked kind of at the expertise and the well it was done. I haven't needed to see him again. I went back to Turkey after 6 months and seen my surgeon there again. No charge, and I have to say, all in all, it was a private hospital. My husband was allowed to stay with me. Everything included, and I had that surgery for under €6,000.
All right, Mary, listen, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear you were persistent. I'm glad to hear you're well, and I'm glad to hear you're with us, Mary, because it sounds like if you hadn't been as persistent as you are, you might not be. Thank you very much for your insight and your balance on that. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, Mary. We'll be back after the news and obituary notices.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Willow Warm Eco Briquettes, 100% renewable, 100% Irish wood. Buy 3 bales, get 2 fire logs free. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
This December, cozy up your home with the warmth of timeless furniture pieces from Foy & Company, Letterkenny and Ballybuffet stores. If you're looking for the perfect sofa to gather around with your loved ones, or maybe a dining table to host an unforgettable holiday dinner. And the best part, our special offers with reductions on selected items in both stores. Foy & Company, where style meets comfort, making your house a home this winter.
Attention farmers, Alt Nurseries Altupper Castlefin are Department of Agriculture approved and can supply plant passports for your acre scheme. Thorn hedging, tree whips, shelters, hedging, plastic and native Irish apple trees are all available. Also stocking a large range of bare root, potted hedging trees, shrubs and much more. For the best quality at the keenest prices, call Gail at Alt Nurseries Castlefin on 086 306 7346.
Get glowing skin this winter with the Clarins Gift of Beauty at McElhinney's. Purchase 2 or more Clarins products, 1 to be moisturiser or serum, and receive a choice of 4 free beauty treats and a gorgeous beauty bag. Hurry, offer available at McElhinney's until December 10th while stocks last.
This December the 22nd, you could own a brand new car worth €30,000. Highland Radio is giving away a brand new Skoda Kamiq worth over €30,000. Someone, and it could be you, will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on Friday, December the 22nd.
You've just won a car.
Yes, steady on, that could be you. If you've got the lucky ticket, simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's great car giveaway. Get your ticket now.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. A family home has been destroyed by a fire in Letterkenny. Emergency services worked to bring the blaze, which broke out in the Long Lane area yesterday evening, under control. No one was injured in the fire. Gardaí, however, have confirmed that investigations are continuing. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says the fire took hold of the property quickly.
I know the gentleman and lady that live there, and they take great pride in their house, and see it standing there watching it go up in flames last night was heartbreaking for them, and my thoughts and heart goes out to them, especially now at Christmas time. There was 3 or 4 emergency service vehicles there, and the fire service worked as hard as they could, but by the time they arrived, the house was fairly engulfed in flames.
Ireland is unlikely to reach its renewable energy targets, according to 95% of industry experts. It's among the findings contained in a new KPMG report commissioned by Wind Energy Ireland. The report says Ireland's current target of 80% of renewable electricity by the year 2030 has become virtually unachievable. CEO of Wind Energy Ireland, Noel Caniff, says Ireland hasn't used its time wisely and the planning process is too slow.
We're just coming out of an energy price crisis driven by our reliance on imported fossil fuels, and countries right across Europe use that time to try to process more renewable energy projects. So Germany, France, Belgium, they've processed more wind and solar projects than any time in their history. Meanwhile, in Ireland, during that exact time period, we went for nearly 14 months without a single onshore wind farm being consented by An Bord Pleanála.
Donegal has been badly served in terms of the number of Gardaí. That's according to Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, who was speaking following the latest JPC meeting, which heard there are currently 432 Gardaí of all ranks in the county, 46 more than in 2017, and with double the support staff. However, Deputy Doherty said a snapshot over a longer period of time shows Garda numbers are in fact down. He says the lack of Gardaí is hampering investigations into alleged fraud in Donegal. Deputy Doherty says the county should be treated equally in terms of the deployment of Garda resources.
We can see of the over 250 Gardaí that were deployed in different stations this year so far, only 3 of them have come to Donegal. There's another 150 to be deployed statewide in the next 2 weeks, and the Chief Super has no notification whether any of them are coming to Donegal. And what I'm making the point very clearly is Donegal has been badly served in terms of the number of Gardaí. We have issues of rural crime just like anywhere else.
A Donegal County Councillor believes car parking charges collected at Letterkenny University Hospital should be returned to the hospital. It comes after over €1,000 worth of damage was caused to a hospital worker's car. The damage was discovered as she returned to her vehicle having completed a shift. Eurocar Parks, who operate the hospital car park, took no responsibility and directed the lady to raise the matter instead with hospital security. Councillor Michael McClafferty, Cahirlock of the Glendees Municipal District, says the amount of funds generated by car parking charges will be a substantial boost for the hospital.
If it is that they feel it's hospital security's problem, to the other side of it, I would see it as them. If that's the way going forward, your car park's attitude is whenever that contract is up or to be renewed, that's money that's been collected in that car park there should be going back to Letterkenny Hospital. Letterkenny Hospital should be managing that car park themselves anyway from the word go, as all hospitals should have been, because we have all these situations at the minute, hospitals struggling one thing and another, and that's a real game changer there. The amount of money would be collected there over the year would be something very substantial, no doubt.
Media rules and regulations should be strengthened to tackle disinformation and harmful clickbait content. That's according to a new report from the Joint Oireachtas Committee on Integration. The spread of disinformation has come into the spotlight following the recent Dublin riots, which are said to have been provoked by far-right groups on social media. Tom Clonan, Trinity Senator and security analyst, says people within these groups know how to use the algorithm to promote harmful content.
They know that conflict and hate speech drive a lot of traffic, get a lot of traction, and with that actually comes revenues, of which those platforms get about 30% of the cut. So basically what the committee is recommending is that those social media companies, which are headquartered in Dublin, that they basically sign up to a code of practice where they more proactively curb this hate speech and disinformation.
Weather now, ice gradually clearing this morning. There will be a mix of sunshine and scattered showers today, with the chance of a few of hail or sleet mainly over higher ground. Highest temperatures of 3 to 7 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website, highlandradio.com. Good morning. The obituary notice says for this Monday morning, December the 4th. The death has taken place on October the 13th of Ida McDevitt, 29 Haywards Road, Haywards Heath, West Sussex, and previously of Letchermore, Drumkeen. A service for Ida will take place in St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. The death has taken place of Mary Maureen Sweeney, née Friel, Ladden, Kindrum, Kettering, Northamptonshire, England. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountaintop, Letterkenny at 6 o'clock this evening, going to St Mary's Church, Fanavolti, Fanad for prayers at 7 o'clock. Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral can be viewed live on Scott Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Derry Flynn, Ballyheron, Fanad. Remains are reposing at her home. House private please. Removal today to the Church of Christ the Redeemer, Rossnakill, arriving at 7 o'clock to repose overnight. Funeral service tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Private cremation on Wednesday in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice. Care of Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Sean Neil Ferry, Knockfolla, Gidor. Remains are reposing at his late residence. Rosary tonight at 8 o'clock. Funeral mass tomorrow morning in Chap Pobble Colmkill, Knockfolla at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Mary Boyle, née McDevitt, Listilian Letterkenny and Mahara Clogher Bombay, originally of Annagree. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest at Mountaintop Letterkenny at 11:45 today, going to St Mary's Church, Derrybeg for Requiem Mass at 1 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Mahara Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam and on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Paul McGuigan, Carol Namadi, Birch. Paul's remains are reposing at his home. Wake today from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Other times are strictly private and on the morning of the funeral. Removal tomorrow morning at 10:30 to Lakelands Crematorium Cavan for 2 o'clock. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Foyle Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Willie Call, Hillhead, St Johnston, County Donegal. Willie's remains are reposing at his late residence today from 11 o'clock until 10 o'clock with Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving his late residence tomorrow morning at 11:20, going to St Bathan's Church, St Johnston for 12 noon Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Society of St Vincent de Paul and Medical Ward Patients Comfort Fund, care of Kelly's Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Kevin J. McGlynn, 9 Meandara Park, Woodlands, Letterkenny, County Donegal and formerly of Fulcara, reposing at his late residence today from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Removal from there tomorrow morning to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyrain for 12 noon Requiem Mass, followed by burial in Leck Cemetery. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if wished to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of John Winnie O'Donnell, Mina Creve Road, Annagree, originally of Culloch Creek, Annagree. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral mass in St Mary's Star of the Sea Church, Annagree, this morning at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam and on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. And the death has occurred of Gerald Gallagher, Moness, Birch, reposing at his home. Removal from there this morning at 10:15 to St Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Gerald's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Beach Hill Manor Private Nursing Home Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
It's not just that Sammy has had his world torn apart by the conflict. It's not just that he has lost everyone that he ever loved. And it's not just that Sammy is only 7 years old. Right now, children are being forced to live through unimaginable horrors in Gaza and around the world. And it's not just. This Christmas, your help could make all the difference. Visit Trócaire.org or call 1-800-408-408. Trócaire. Together for a just world.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
All right, so a bit of news emerging as it relates to Eamon Ryan. The Green Party leader has now said he'll not need to make a return flight from the COP28 climate summit in Dubai for a confidence motion in the Dáil this week. Sinn Féin, of course, has tabled the motion of no confidence in Minister for Justice Helen McEntee following the Dublin riots. I understand what they're doing. I actually personally think, just as an observation and as someone who follows politics, that wasn't a great move to begin with. But anyway, Minister Ryan says he won't fly now because he's arranged a pairing with Jennifer Whitmore of the Social Democrats. So now he will not be flying. But you've been commenting on this story that has been rumbling for a couple of days nonetheless. Carbon is the building block of life. Be careful what they're restricting. What percentage of carbon is in the air, asks another. If Eamon was travelling economy like the rest of us, he would not be hopping around the world. Another. Good morning, Greg. Poor countries need fossil fuels to get out of poverty and will be using fossil fuels for many decades to come. These people complaining really haven't a clue. Good morning. That Eamon Ryan and indeed the whole government are a disgrace, running there for climate action and pledging millions. Our country's on the brink of recession. And don't get me started on the HSE, but sure, who cares? They certainly don't. We are technically in a recession due to a downturn in pharmaceutical exports. So it's a technical recession. Many people have been living in a recession, though, and I talked about this well over a year ago, that we talk about it being a rich country, but many people listening to this programme have effectively been living in a recession. Pathetic, the hypocrisy shown by government, says another listener. Right, on to the hospital. I cannot see the person responsible for that lady's car coming forward. That's the mentality of people nowadays. They just don't care. It's scandalous. The poor lady, no one needs an expected bill at Christmas time. Another, not enough security staff on as well. Michael, it's a joke. Greg, who told you it was 55 grand a year? Was it the hospital? No, it was figures from that I saw. I'm going off the top of my head. I'll dig them out. It was in terms of what money the hospitals made after everything from hospital car parking charges. Letterkenny University Hospital was notably low. Galway Hospital, for an example, it's well over $1 million. Sligo, I think it's closer to 100 grand, but in Letterkenny it's €55,000 is what the hospital ended up with. As if I've worked the figures out correctly. The parking spaces are very tight as well. The hospital should take responsibility for cars that are damaged. It's time the hospital came clean on the issue, where the money's going and who's getting the profits from it. Well, the information is out there. Whether you like it or not, it's not a secret as such. It's publicly available information. Some listeners will recall a young nurse coming off duty a few years back to find 2 of his car doors missing, removed, stolen. The car park management didn't want to know either. We've had other people with windows smashed as well. There was a spate of it down, particularly around the ED. It's an ongoing issue. Poor girl coming out of work to find that happened. If she's a nurse, she should be getting free parking. Another caller, my friend works for Euro Car Parks. Every penny goes to the hospital. They don't have access to the cameras. They're not allowed to look at them, and half of the cameras up there don't work. But the argument being made is that if you have a private company providing security of the car park, that maybe they should have their own security system as well, rather than saying, it's not our responsibility, it's the hospitals. But Euro car parks obviously are profit making. They make money, they manage the car park. There's investment in the car park, so they're not doing it for charity either. So Euro car parks are really quite a successful company. The hospital gets a proportion, 55,000 a year, 55,000 in the year for the last figures that I saw. Car damage. Most parking spaces are too narrow, no room to get the door open. It's not an excuse for the damage, but they're so tight, something needs to be done. I find car parks generally are too tight. Now, I suppose it's a case of squeezing them in, but most people seemingly now drive SUVs or really quite wide electric vehicles, and the car parking spaces simply aren't wide enough. And even in terms of backing out, the cars in the next line of traffic are really quite close to you. Why have the roads between Gorta Hawk and Letterkenny not been gritted since Friday night? Scandalous. Why am I paying road tax? Greg, tell Michael McClafferty to get Donegal County Council to get out and leave grit at every turn and hill on the back roads for people in schools. It's so slippery this morning around Gorta Hawk area and Castlenacore area. Where does our tax money be going? Is there a particular problem with black ice around the Gorta Hawk area? That's a couple of unrelated texters messaging in there. Hi, Greg. A question I'd like you to put to your listeners. Does anyone find putting out ashes with smokeless coal, they get breathless? I feel like a full-blown asthmatic putting out my ashes. No problem when I use turf ashes. A question I want to ask for a long time. They now wear a mask when putting out the ashes. It's not a problem I've had. I put the ashes in the bucket and then leave the bucket out for it to cool and then dispose of them then. But no, I've not found a particular issue personally with breathlessness after putting out the ashes with smokeless coal, but it's out to our listeners. Let us know. That's what we're here for. Interesting convo, perhaps. 08660 25,000. Do you find that you find yourself breathless when putting out the ashes from smokeless coal? Hi, Greg. Never seen so many silly drivers out this weekend with their bad fog driving on their daytime running lights on and no lights on in the back of the cars, thanks. Yes, I noticed this myself and I can't understand it. I think, even especially people with more modern cars, I think the daytime running lights, they're not aware that in some of the vehicles, there's nothing at the back. They have the lights at the front, but there's nothing to the rear, and that's where you need them, isn't it? Interesting point. Thank you for that. Caroline, did I leave the competition information out with you there, I wonder? Did I bring it in with me? Okay. It's buried in all the comments here because we have a fantastic competition running in association with our friends at Cadbury. They are running their Secret Santa competition with us here. So what we're inviting you to do is share with us why you want to secretly send chocolate to someone special this year. What makes them deserving of a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about a person in your life who deserves this surprise treat, but be sure to keep it a secret. Now, the good thing here is right, for nominating, if you're successful, you win. You want to see this hamper. It's up on our Instagram and our Facebook. This amazing big Cadbury hamper, right? But also, if you win today, the person you nominate gets a lovely Secret Santa bar, which will be delivered to them in secret. So really, this is one of those competitions where you do really well out of it, but someone else does well too. So all we want you to do, and we won't use any names, is WhatsApp or text us on 08660 25,000 and tell us in your life who do you think deserves the delivery of our Cadbury Secret Santa bar. And if you're successful, you win this amazing hamper. We've got a hamper on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday, a €250 one-for-all voucher available for you to spend this Christmas. So let me just say this one more time so it's perfectly clear. Today, I'm inviting you to text 08660 25,000 or WhatsApp that number or give us a call, but preferably text, and tell us who in your life is special. Why are they special and why do they deserve the delivery of a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? And they're lovely wee bars. They're not wee, but they're lovely. You, if you're successful, win a beautiful big hamper. They win the bar, you get the hamper. All right, let us know who in your life deserves to be receiving this Christmas a Cadbury Secret Santa bar. 08660 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Why do they deserve it from you? And we'll pick a winner out before the end of the programme. The road at Welchtown School, there's an accident. There's guards, the fire brigade and an ambulance there at the moment. Back road between Welchtown and Stranraer is treacherous, I'm being told. Good luck if you're playing the bingo today.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 4th of December. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S1. It's game number 49. The numbers are 66, 61, 51, 46, 25, 10, 68, 33, 52, and finally 38. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Hello, you're through to Emily.
Hello, I'd like to organise my brown bin service, please.
No problem. What's your address?
You know the lane just after Carty Park? Yeah, about 5 miles down that.
Sure. From January 2024, every household in Ireland will be entitled to a brown bin service. Wherever you live, you can organise yours by contacting your current waste collector. Visit mywaste.ie to learn more, because you're never too remote to recycle. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Hello there. Golly gosh, it's almost Christmas and we want to help you here at Harvey's Point make it extra special. And what better way than with a Harvey's Point gift card, available to order direct from the hotel 074 97 22208 or online at harveyspoint.com. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. A Harvey's Point gift card.
Hi, Teresa Mannion here with a road safety alert. Falling snow and freezing fog will reduce visibility. Do not drive on the taillights of a vehicle in front, as it can give a false sense of security. When you slow down, use your brakes so that your brake lights warn drivers behind you. From the Road Safety Authority.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
And a Merry Christmas to everyone at Evolve as well. Right. The Farmers Alliance is calling for the immediate resignation of the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Mr. Charlie McConalogue. We're joined on the programme now by Helen O'Sullivan, a farmer and spokesperson for the Farmers Alliance. Good morning to you, Helen. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for having us on this morning.
No, it's, why this move? Why now?
Well, as you probably know, with the dairy sector, what's happening there at the moment is quite ridiculous, Greg. You know, they will have to slaughter their cows or try and get more land before the 1st of January. So I suppose for our listeners that are not familiar, there's a new nitrogen derogation that came in lately. So basically what that is, it's after dropping the nitrates levels from 250 kgs of nitrogen per hectare to 220 kgs. So what that means is you can't spread any more than 220 kgs of organic manure now on your land per hectare.
And so are we at the... I beg your pardon. Go ahead, please, Helen.
Sorry, Greg. So what this will mean for farmers is that are in those particular areas, they will have to comply with these new nitrates regulations. They will have to either slaughter their heavily pregnant cows or obtain more land, and this has to be done before the 1st of January. So this will affect about maybe 7,000 farmers, you know, in the country, Greg. So that will be in counties Cork, Tipperary, Westmeath, Roscommon. I don't think there's any county that will escape this cut in the derogation.
Yeah, we aren't as badly affected in Donegal for once, but there are certain areas, of course, that do appear on that map, as you've been outlining there. How I mean, is this a fear about the slaughter of 200,000 Heifley and calf cows, or is it a reality?
This is actually a reality, Greg, because, you know, as I've mentioned, the deadline is the 1st of January. These farmers in those catchment areas will have to comply with those regulations. So, like, this is going to create a huge animal welfare issue. This is actually going to put farmers under an awful lot of pressure, both physically and mentally, bearing in mind that they're already under a lot of pressure because, you know, the price of milk have dropped back hugely in the dairy sector, but their input costs have risen. So they're under enormous pressure. They've invested hugely in their enterprises over the years, and, you know, that would include slurry storage, and they have low-emission slurry spreading gear bought in as well. So, you know, really and truly, Greg, all these farmers, you know, they've been doing what they were asked to do for the last number of years. They've complied with, you know, every regulation that was sent out to them from the department or from, you know, the government, you know, by having to have extra slurry storage, you know, to keep the water quality in good condition. And they've complied with everything. So we feel, you know, that the farmers are being totally unfairly scapegoated for the whole water quality and climate change. And this has to change. And we feel that Minister McConalogue has just sat there, you know, sitting on his hands doing nothing.
Well,
it's not an option.
I wish I had the opportunity to speak to him to put his point of view across, but I don't. But I will say that he would argue, I'm sure, that he's worked very hard to try and, if not maintain the derogation as it is, but to maintain it beyond the deadline, and that is the piece of work that's ongoing now. I'm sure you'd argue that he made his submissions to try and see this deferred or avoided, but that the EU Commission are very firm and resolute on this, and that's all he can do. All he can do is lobby and make the argument for Ireland, but at the end of the day, this is an EU decision, and we are, for right or wrong, part of that club. His hands are tied, and changing the minister won't change the situation.
Well, we feel, Greg, here in Farmers Alliance, and speaking to lots of other farmers throughout the country, that he did not work hard enough. I mean, he didn't even bother going over to the EU to argue his case here for Ireland. He had a Zoom meeting. Now, I know if it was me, if I was representing the farmers of this country, I would get on the plane and I'd be over there in that room in Brussels fighting my case for the farmers here in this country. I mean, we are the most sustainable producers of milk in Europe, and I would go as far as saying in the world. Greg, because of our grass-based system, because of the way we farm. Like I said, these farmers have invested hundreds of thousands of euros, in their enterprise for the slurry storage.
But is that not why we have is that not why we have a derogation at all? We're one of only 3 European countries that have it. Is that not? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, by the way, Helen, so bear with me. Is that not the argument that, because we do it like you say we do, that's why we have this derogation, and that's why we can hope to maybe keep it at a level, not the level that you might like, but at a level going forward?
Well, you see, this is the problem, Greg. It's been cut now from 250 kgs of nitrogen per hectare down to 220. But what's going to come next? In a year's time, is it going to be down to 170? Are we going to be right back here again, arguing, fighting? I mean, these farmers are under savage amount of pressure. How are they going to pay for their loans? Just to give you an example, and for people that are not familiar, with the farming sector. So for a farmer that has 75 cows, right, so if they're in that area of the 250 kgs of nitrogen per hectare, they will have to reduce their herd by 15 cows, Greg. That's an awful lot of money.
Or increase land, which is a problem in itself.
Or increase land. You see, but that is another problem as well. By increasing land, you're squeezing out the smaller dairy farmers, the sheep farmers, the beef farmers, tillage and vegetable farmers, because, we can't compete with the prices that the dairy farmers will have to pay. So really what's happening here, they're decimating rural Ireland. And to be quite honest with you, Greg, this culling of the cows and slaughtering these cows is not going to help water quality at all, and scientists have said this to me from Teagasc. What's going to happen here is the neighbouring bigger dairy farmer will come in, rent the land off the smaller farmer, and the same amount of cows are going to be on that land as what the previous farmer has.
Consolidate
no difference whatsoever.
It consolidates it to the big guys, really.
And that's what it is.
That's what people I've spoken to have said. But
But sorry, just Greg, on that point there, down here in West Cork, we're the biggest county here in Cork with dairy cattle. So to give you an idea, here in Timoleague, they're working with Teagasc, and there's a programme called the Teagasc Agricultural Catchment Programme. And what they're doing here, they're monitoring the water quality here for the last 12 years. And the purpose of this is to investigate the impact of agriculture and water quality in this area and other areas. So, the water quality readings are taken every 10 minutes with this programme, whereas I think the EPA only does it twice a year. So what it is showing down here in West Cork in this river, Timoleague River catchment area, that the nitrogen levels have dropped to its lowest since 2010, Greg, despite the rise in dairy stock numbers. So this is proving that it can be done. We weren't given enough time. Again, the minister didn't fight for more time. He didn't go over there. He didn't fight his case. We just feel very let down by him.
And I've heard the argument that there was no reward for those efforts. So what would motivate people to make even greater effort going forward? The one thing I haven't got my head around in all of this, whether you argue one way or other, is the time frame that farmers were given just effectively 3 months.
That's right, yeah.
Notice. Now, that to me is pretty remarkable. How did we get to a point where we got so close to the cliff edge that only 3 months really effectively has been given to farmers to either cull the cows or acquire more land? It seems an incredibly tiny little window, especially given the importance of the agricultural community and how important they clearly were for everyone during the lockdowns and what have you.
Absolutely, Greg. Farmers really are the backbone of this country. No matter how people are trying to put us down, the government are trying to put us down, this is another problem. There's so much misinformation put towards us, the farmers. We're blamed for everything when it comes to climate change. This is wrong. It needs to change. We need to educate the urban and let them know that it's not all our fault. We need to come together and bridge that gap. Farmers, we have over 167,000 people in employment here in this country. Look at the knock-on effect this will have. They got rid of our beef industry back in 2006. They got rid of our horticulture industry. They're trying to get rid of our beef industry for years now, this government. And now they're focusing on the dairy industry.
How does it make you feel as a farmer fighting these battles when I was watching with interest the news over the last week or so about the importance of airports, expanding Shannon Airport. There's a massive investment into it to accommodate more traffic. Increased capacity at Dublin Airport, because the reason I mention this is because we've just been talking about the controversy of whether or not Eamon Ryan would fly back from Dubai and back out again. He's not doing that now. But anyway, how does it feel as a farmer, the finger being pointed at you all the time, where we see another area of heavy pollutants that doesn't really create anything except, revenue, of course, through tourism and what have you, and we have to get about the place. But does that feel like a kick in the teeth?
Very much so, Greg. We are very angry. I'm very angry as a farmer, and I've listened to a lot of farmers over the last number of years, and they're very angry and frustrated that we are being blamed for absolutely everything. Only the fact that it is true could be a joke. I mean, exactly. We have our Minister for the Environment that just flew back from Dubai from COP28. He was going to go back over again to there after coming back here to give his vote on the vote of no confidence in our minister, Justice Minister. That has now been changed, but it's ridiculous. All these people are flying around. They want to increase. Leo Varadkar recently announced that he wants to increase our passenger capacity from 32 million to up over 40 million. Dublin Airport alone, not Cork or any other Shannon or any other airport alone. This is a huge kick in the teeth. So here they are. They want to reduce our national herd and increase flights. So it would look to me, Greg, that flights are much more important than food. It's galling, really. And just to give you an idea, to increase the flights capacity to up to 40 million or over, that's a 25% increase in airport emissions. So therefore, that would be equivalent to 45,000 dairy cows extra coming in.
Okay.
With that extra. So it's wrong. It's very wrong, very galling. The one thing here that's not been mentioned at all, Greg, in all of this water quality, and it's very wrong. And again, they're pointing the finger at the farmer the whole time. Raw sewage. There's 7.5 million litres of raw sewage going into our water courses on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, I listened when this conversation started, and albeit relatively recently, though no farmers have been dealing with this for a long time, I was just curious of a breakdown of what it actually is damaging the water in terms of, sewage, raw sewage being pumped by the state into our rivers and what have you, other types of pollution, and how much of it actually is farming pollution. Because to make such a big decision like this, I think you'd need very clear science to say, actually, it's the farmers that are doing this, and it's the farmers that need to.
I just want to give you an example, and I'm no scientist, Greg, and this is the problem here. Again, the farmer is being blamed for straight away, and we're being scapegoated, and it's wrong. I'm living down here in West Cork, and I'm surrounded by dairy farmers. We had a farm walk here not so long ago. A dairy farmer had a farm walk, and they went down to the river, and they sampled the water quality below in the river. That man is from Tagus, a governmental body. He was quite surprised. He came across an insect that hasn't been found for years below in this river. And the only reason that insect was there, Greg, is because our water conditions is pristine. And I am surrounded by big dairy farmers around me here. So that is telling me it is not the farmer's fault. Come further into the towns, there's lots of problems, not just in our town here, but in other towns. There's over 40 locations around Ireland where raw sewage is entering our water courses on a daily basis. So that would tell me, and I am no rocket scientist by no means, that the problems are coming in from the raw sewage, not from the agriculture sector. And again, we have to bear in mind as well, Greg, in the last year and a half, there has been over 150,000 extra people come into this country. These people are also adding to the already under pressure sewage system that we had. And Ireland's wastewater systems are not meeting the EU standards. So this problem hasn't been addressed.
Okay, that's your views. Thank you very much indeed, Helen. That's Helen O'Sullivan, a farmer herself and spokesperson too for the Farmers Alliance. They're calling for the immediate resignation of the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Mr. Charlie McConalogue, who's been invited on to have a chat about that or to provide us with a statement. And we'll see how that goes. But that's their calls anyway, and the reasons outlined there from Helen.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com. Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Chanel, Lancôme, Christian Dior and Jimmy Choo. Also great prices on Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Declan loves a leisurely Sunday drive, even on a Tuesday, ignoring all the angry honks of people trying to get home from work. You see, with Dunnes Click and Collect, Declan is never in a rush. He can order online and collect his groceries at a time that suits him. From online grocery shopping to buy me same-day delivery, there's a way to shop for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Buy me is subject to location and availability. Minimum spend required.
Donegal County Council invite the residents of Stranorlar and Cavan Lower local areas, members of the public and other interested parties to participate in this second public consultation for the N15 Corcam Bends Road scheme. The aim of the consultation is to review and receive feedback on the emerging preferred route. A public display of the study area, constraints and emerging preferred route option will take place in Keys Hotel, Stranorlar on Thursday the 7th of December between 2 and 7 p.m. County Council staff and their design consultants will be present on the day to listen to and to register your views. For additional project information, please contact the Donegal National Roads Office on 074 9724 500 or design@dnrdo.ie.
We've one planet and it's ours to protect. From repairing to swapping to creating and recreating. Learn the changes you can make every Tuesday at 12:30 to live a little greener. Tune into Ours to Protect on Highland Radio with me, Donna Murray.
Ours to Protect is brought to you by Highland Radio, the IBI, and funded by Commissioner Mann with the television licence fee. Check out ourstoprotect.ie for more information.
You're very welcome back to the programme. More of your comments coming in their hundreds, quite literally, by the way. So thank you so much for that. A caller says it's our government which is causing this mess, not the ordinary people. That's what they believe. Why is Eamon Ryan scared off when the government needs him back to vote for a minister and her party who cuts the Garda force, says another. Greg, Fury as COP28 head questions science of cutting fossil fuels, plus his company made $5 trillion in profits in 2022. They are on the pig's back, aren't they? So we're going to blame Sinn Féin for Eamon Ryan having to fly home. Everything is the opposition's fault. The government is great and faultless. This is comedy gold. Well, I countered that argument, of course, I think, during the course of that conversation for the interests of balance. It's our government. Oh, I just read that one. Was it not suggested there recently, I can't remember her name, that only the rich can fly? Everyone on the planet given credit, and the poor, who will likely never travel anywhere, can sell them off to the rich. FFS. People, we have to start paying attention to what they are saying at all these events. They're blaming, they are telling us all, and no one is listening. Sometimes I watch these conferences and I have to laugh at their suggestions, but I realise they are serious and we are doomed. Good morning, Greg. So your argument is that we will have migration because of climate change. Their family will die. They'll have to move. If that's the case, why haven't we seen most of Africa move to Europe over the centuries with all famines and wars they have handled? They did not care about their families then. Well, we have seen, it's not just in Ireland, you know, there is much, an awful lot of emigration that has happened over the years. If you just have a wee look, it's on the internet, most of it. But you have to also understand that not everyone can just up sticks and leave to a different continent either. But there comes a point where it will happen, and it is happening. But I mean, you just think about it. Put yourself in the position of some of the families that you've referenced there over the years, how they might even dream of leaving where they are to go somewhere else. Complaining about air flights while the Israelis are blowing the hell out of Gaza, causing huge infernos, many of them giving off toxic fumes, along with the jets being used to deliver death. The reality is these governments shook the hell out of the world over 40 years testing A-bombs, and now they're blaming you and me, or the cows in the field. Okay, an awful lot of bombs going off in Ukraine as well still. Okay, more on that to follow, of course, because we're very busy on the lines. Now, time for Sergeant Paul Wallace, who's a Divisional Crime Prevention Officer, and some specific advice for businesses and those shopping in businesses in the run-up to Christmas. We're really in the throes of it now. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Greg.
Right, shall we start with some warnings for businesses? Because, you know, they can be big targets of crime and fraud. What would your key advice be to businesses in this Christmas period?
Yeah, as you say, it's timely now in the run-up to Christmas. And, you know, what we're basically saying to the businesses just to protect their sales and revenues by identifying the risks, taking the proper steps, making sure that they've discussed it with their office staff in relation to the purchase and the sale of items, protecting personal data, all of that sort of thing. So, you know, like using accredited money transfer platforms such as PayPal and that is recommended as well, and have the protections in place.
Invoice fraud's kind of, I think, what you're referencing there as well. We've seen some big cases in this county, and with everyone being really busy and what have you, it can be quite easy to drop the ball. The scammers are very sophisticated, aren't they, Paul?
Well, they're very sophisticated, and they're working within Ireland and out abroad. And they're basically organised criminal gangs. No more than when you mention organised criminal gangs, you might think about the drugs trade and the illicit trade and that. But they also operate in this across the platforms, using the email, using the web, using the dark web. And for example, in 2022, there was over 11 million stolen from companies in Ireland. Now, we're looking at a 23% decrease to date, with around 7 million reported stolen. And I suppose the important thing is, if you think there's something wrong, straight away let somebody know, report it to the An Garda Síochána, because if we don't get the reports, we don't know what's happening, and there are steps that can be taken. The business email comprise, the BEC as they call it, has decreased as well, and we're probably getting, I suppose, more than interviews like this, it's getting the awareness out there, getting people to just slow down when an email comes in looking for money, or when they're making a purchase, making sure they're using the proper platforms, ensuring that the data transfer is secure, checking sellers' reviews and ratings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, just then from a consumer's perspective, and I'll start on social media if you don't mind, Paul, because every fourth advert on platforms like X and also Instagram and Facebook is, a drop shop outlet or some sort of a business offering it could be a gadget or a device or a service, and just because they're hosted by a platform, I could take an ad out on any of those platforms and advertise absolutely anything. There's no checks or balances at their end. I think we really need to be careful, especially with the level of social media use that we have, not just this country, but around the world, that we're really careful of those ads that can appear in your timeline and can seem legit, but you may never get a product at all. And I really would not like to be giving my bank details to these people.
Well, exactly. And you see, when you look at sales that pop up across social media, as you've outlined there, that you're not going looking for the product is actually coming looking for you, because the algorithms will take people or take companies into your space, and it'll, I suppose, target you, for want of a better word, in that you're looking for a particular item. You might have been looking it up on the web, and the next thing it appears on a social media platform, not from any established retail outlet, not that and then they want you to do the money transfer. They don't want you to go through the money transfer platforms. They want you to do it directly, and you probably will never ever see the product that you've purchased, but they have your information, they have your name, your address, all your financial details and all of that. So you're leaving your identity with them as such. And when you look, there's probably no website payment security on it, and if you're getting involved in a transaction, you're sending your card details by email or text or some other messaging method, you're leaving yourself open to what they call phishing and smishing, which is in essence social engineering. It's obtaining of your personal details, your name, address, your date of birth, PPS or whatever, to create false IDs or whatever. We've talked about this repeatedly, Greg, at different times, but it's basically, at the end of the day, your local high street retailer will probably have the product, and you can go in and you can look at it and examine it, and they'll value your custom.
And I'm a big fan of shopping local, but also some people might shop online. There are companies, the likes of Amazon, that their reputation is incredibly important to them, and they often, or for the most part, will have the safety checks in place to ensure that you're hopefully dealing with a legitimate supplier and you'll get that product, and there is some recourse if you don't. I want a particular mention too to people using PayPal, because there are some protections in terms of buying with a credit card or PayPal, but a big red flag if anyone asks you to pay by PayPal, if they ask you to tick for friends and families, because that really is you effectively foregoing the protection that PayPal affords you. So if anyone asks you to say you're paying friends and family, I'd be really cautious of that.
Yeah, you see, you're right there. You talked about Amazon and the different sales platforms and that. They have safeguards built in. It's no more than PayPal. They have safeguards built in both to protect them and to protect you, to protect the customer. These other things, it's like stepping out of a hallway into another room where they want to, and they promise you the sun, moon and the stars. And we all have to shop online. It's part of where we are now and the evolution of all of these things. And, you know, after COVID or during COVID, it was the only way to shop as such at all. And we haven't really stepped back from that either. People just, rather than going to the main street high retailers, they just look it up and they do it. But it's important that you use the proper platforms that are there, like Amazon, like PayPal, that sort of thing, and that you're not redirected. And you see, the other thing is when you're using your own device, be it your phone, your tablet, your laptop or whatever, it's very important that your antivirus policies are up to date and that you keep that live, because that's how they exploit the whole situation. And you're loading in it's basically you're handing over your bank account to somebody that you don't know.
How do we check a website's payment security? Because that's one of the pieces of advice. But is it very obvious that there is payment security in place?
Yeah, well, you should look around. I suppose the one thing you should do is if you're buying from a supplier, look at the reviews and see, you know, what other people are saying. Now, that's not 100%. That can be false. It can be created to paint a picture as such. But at different times, if you look up on the address bar, you'll see the little padlock there, particularly when you're dealing with a financial transaction. And if that's not there, you have no protection as such.
Mm-hmm. And also, you certainly don't want to be sending your card details, especially the 3 digits, but you don't have to have the 3 digits sometimes, but you certainly don't want to be sending your card details via email, text, or any other platform, for an example. That would be bad.
No, you shouldn't do that. And, you know, as we've said repeatedly there, the platforms are there, the money transfer platforms are there, such as the PayPal of this world and all of that. And they, like, if you have a disputed transaction, I suppose that's what I wanted to get to, they will investigate that on your behalf. In an effort to get the money back. But if you haven't got that protection, it's the same as if you're using, for example, eBay, an auction on eBay, and then you don't win the item or whatever, and the person then contacts you remotely by using your email address or whatever details you've put in, your protection is then gone because you've stepped out of the auction site. And it's the same with that. And
but again, I can't emphasize enough, don't click for friends and family if you're purchasing a product or a service on PayPal, because you forego that protection. And you'll often say, well, I'll pay the extra €2. And they'll go, no, just click friends and families, because then you are stepping out back into the hallway, even though you're shopping.
You're back into the hallway then again. And it's just about thinking twice before purchasing, just, looking for the trusted sources, looking for the feedback, that sort of thing. Okay. How are they doing? And it's just the time of year that we're at. And it's the same with the businesses as well. It's important that they don't get caught with what's called the CEO fraud, where an email comes in, supposed to be from a reputed source. And the ideal thing is that one single person can't make a transaction without checking with somebody else within the company. Yeah. And if you look at the address bar and look at the document that comes in, most times you'll see some discrepancy in it, and it's easy to put that down to a spelling mistake or whatever, but it's not. It's just it's false, and it's there for a reason.
Good advice.
It's there for a reason to dupe you.
Okay.
All right.
Cut twice, measure once, think twice, all that kind of stuff. Sergeant Paul Wallace, Divisional Crime Prevention Officer, thank you for your tips.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days. Sporting gifts this Christmas. Try Brian McCormick Sports. BPE boxing gloves and accessories. Unicorn dartboards and cabinets. BCE and Riley fold-away pool tables. Click on bmcsports.ie to see the new range. High-vis running jackets with high-vis hats, vests and accessories. Garmin watches to keep you on track. Give the gift of sport this Christmas. Try a BMC Sports gift voucher.
If you're a fairy like me, you'll love the new M&S Light Up Christmas tins because they're shaped like little houses and trees that actually light up. Perfect for my fairy Christmas parties. But look, don't worry if you're a human being, you'll love them too because they're filled with irresistible Scottish shortbread, chocolate chip cookies, Swiss chocolate truffles, hot chocolate or luxury gold tea. These are not just tins. No, these are M&S Light Up Christmas tins. Tremendous gifts for fairies and humans alike. Subject to availability, selected stores.
Employers, you can pay employee benefits up to €1,000 tax-free to every employee with Clevercard's digital MasterCards. Clevercards can be used anywhere, online or in-store using Apple and Google Pay. Order online from clevercards.com. Clevercards MasterCards are issued pursuant to Clevercard's interbank agreement with MasterCard and certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. E-money's access with Clevercard's MasterCards are safeguarded and protected under EU electronic money directives, and the business is regulated for conduct purposes by the Central Bank of Ireland. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonagher Road, Donegal Town.
And now the Highland weather, brought to you by Shop LK. An accumulation of Christmas shoppers will descend on Letterkenny this December. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
I don't know where this day is going. I cannot believe it's nearly 11 o'clock already. Okay, so let's have a look at the weather forecast. I do have a weather forecast indeed. Fog, frost and ice clearing through this morning to leave a cold day with spells of winter sunshine. Plenty of dry weather with just well scattered showers, some of which may turn wintry. Highest temperatures 3 to 6 degrees. Now, just a quick reminder of our competition. Thanks to our friends at Cadbury, we are asking you to share with us why you want to secretly send chocolate to someone special this year. What makes them deserving of a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about a person in your life who deserves this surprise treat, but be sure to keep it a secret. We will. WhatsApp or text your reason, but don't reveal it who it is. Just let us know why they deserve it. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note as well, by the way, if that's easier for you, to 08660 25000. Now, your prize for nominating is you'll be entered in our draw for a beautiful Cadbury hamper, and the person you nominate then will receive a beautiful Cadbury Secret Santa bar, so there's something in it for you as well. Text or WhatsApp 08660 25000, and if you want a voice note, you can do that too on WhatsApp 08660 25000. Okay, let's have a look at some more of your comments here. Hi Greg, Derry Real Road, very bad, not a bit of grit. Can you please highlight this? Thank you. And that came in the last 20 minutes. So the Derry Real Road still not feeling safe. I have land and recently discovered that another farmer was using it without my permission. He was using my land and claiming subsidies on it. When I called the Department of Agriculture to ask if anyone was claiming on my land, they wouldn't tell me. This is an issue because as families and single farmers die, these ruthless farmers are then claiming ownership of the land. Something needs to be done to change this. What a pickle. Okay. On smokeless coal, my daughter couldn't sit in the room when burning smokeless coal. She'd be coughing. The minute she put out the ashes, she'd be coughing and spluttering again. So it's not just an earlier caller who gets breathless when emptying the smokeless coal ashes. We do sort of, when you have an open fire, I don't think we always often consider how much of what is burnt off comes into the room as well. Talking about ashes, the new smokeless coal have far too many ashes, twice the amount as the ordinary coal we used to use. Greg, if you could just ask this question on the radio, just wondering if you are on basic supplementary welfare, are you entitled to a Christmas bonus? If not, how are people able to do any Christmas shopping? People are really struggling, and these foreign nationals come in and get everything. It's so unfair. We're the ones suffering. If you are on basic supplementary welfare, are you entitled to a Christmas bonus? Someone out there is bound to know. A caller says, I'd like to know who declares what is disinformation. A ministry for truth ran by whom? Who decides what the truth is? It followed the science. It's settled, decided on. Didn't we hear that for 2 years when, as we always knew, the science is never settled, never static, always evolving? The kind of new language keeps people from thinking for themselves and just accepting what they're told, who they can listen to, who they can support. Communism is growing strong and people don't even know it. Is that a reference to the climate situation? It is. There seems to be, in the world of scientists, a broad consensus on the situation, though I can understand why people may want to resist. How are they going to slaughter 200,000 cows? This is impossible. It cannot be done. This is fake news. But if you are obliged to, by January the 1st, reduce your herd, how do you do it? What you tie balloons to the cattle and hope they fly off? They're going to have to do something because they'll be breaking the rules if they don't.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle & Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
What could be nicer in winter than a warm, cosy fire like this? Well, how about a warm, cosy fire that's good for the environment, good for the country, and good for your pocket? Willow Warm long burning briquettes are 100% carbon neutral, grown and made here in Ireland.
Hey Dermot, throw on another Willow Warm for us on that fire.
Sure, why not? Willow Warm, the brighter, cleaner, greener way to a cosy home this winter. See willowwarm.ie for stockists.
If you're doing some shopping today and fancy taking the weight off your feet or forgetting about having to cook when you get home, take a seat at Kelly's award-winning diner in Letterkenny and select from a menu that's packed with great value, family favourite choices. Relax over a coffee and sandwich, maybe a bite of lunch, something for dinner, or a treat from the dessert menu. Great food and great service every day at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Well, hello there. Ty here. Cozy up there and I'll tell you a bit about myself. See, I'm a super efficient heat pump. Just landed in new digs and I'm keeping it warm using clean energy. Thanks to me and the home energy upgrade, we now have a warmer and healthier home. Want to make a clean switch from fossil fuels? Search SEAI Home Energy Upgrade for a significant government grant for heat pumps. Reduce your use and discover a new world of comfort and savings. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
It's the Christmas cracker we've all been waiting for. Join Highland Radio for a star-studded Christmas concert on Monday the 11th of December in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Starring Michael English and his band, Claudia Buckley, John McNichol, rising star Jack Keogh and myself, David James. This is a Christmas night out not to be missed. Tickets €25 available from the Mount Errigal Hotel reception or online from the outlet at highlandradio.com. Dinner, bed and breakfast packages also available. That's the Highland Radio Christmas concert on Monday the 11th of December.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Time for a news update. Let's cross over now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The leader of the Green Party will not travel back to Ireland for the no confidence motion in Justice Minister Helen McEntee tomorrow. Environment Minister Eamon Ryan, who's currently attending COP28 in Dubai, was planning to make a return trip to the UAE in order to continue climate talks after casting his Dáil vote. However, the Social Democrats have stepped in, with the party's environment spokesperson Jennifer Whitmore offering to pair with Minister Ryan, allowing him to stay in Dubai. A family home has been destroyed by a fire in Letterkenny. Emergency services worked to bring the blaze, which broke out in the Long Lane area of Letterkenny yesterday evening, under control. No one was injured in the fire, but Gardaí have confirmed that investigations are continuing. Ireland's renewable energy targets have become virtually unachievable, according to a new report. The KPMG report, commissioned by Wind Energy Ireland, heard from several industry experts in both the public and private sector. 95% of those involved in the report don't believe the current renewable electricity target of 80% by the year 2030 can be reached. Businesses in Donegal are being urged to protect themselves against the operation of organised crime gangs online ahead of the busy Christmas period. Donegal's Crime Prevention Officer has warned businesses to protect their sales and revenues by identifying risks such as knowing their product, knowing their customers, utilising a safe means of payment and using reliable delivery methods. A Donegal County Council is calling for a review of the management of Letterkenny University Hospital car park. It comes after over €1,000 worth of damage was caused to a hospital worker's vehicle in the car park. Eurocar Parks currently operate the car park with a percentage of the parking charges collected given to the hospital. However, upon raising the matter with Eurocar Parks, the hospital worker was instead directed to hospital security. And social media companies should proactively curb the spread of online hate speech and disinformation, according to a security analyst. A new report from the Joint Oireachtas Committee on Integration is calling for media rules and regulations to be strengthened to tackle harmful content. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Who would it be easy for you to... I'm not going to put you on the spot, but nominate you. We can't enter this competition, the Cadbury Secret Santa Bar competition, but it would be easy for you to nominate someone who you think is deserving of a Cadbury Secret Santa Bar?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you want to give it a go? No?
Maybe I'll nominate my sister.
Really?
Keep her sweet and
did she take you
running
to,
up to.
Did she take you to Dubai and Abu Dhabi?
No, I took myself, so maybe I'll nominate myself.
Well, you know what I mean. I know you took yourself. Okay. Your sister, what's your sister's name?
Mia.
Oh, Mia. That's beautiful. Okay. Well, you can't enter, but you can go and buy her something. All right. Thanks very much.
At Aldi, we've got cracking Christmas offers throughout the store. 20% off all specially selected wines. And super savings every day with Aldi's Super 6 Fresh Fruit and Veg. Now from only 39¢, both from December 7th. There's €40,000 worth of Aldi gift cards to be won with Holly Lane Christmas Mini Bites. And fresh whole Irish turkeys for an incredible $8.99. On sale December 20th. So what are you waiting for? Aldi. Share the love this Christmas. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie for details. Get the facts. Be drink aware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Okay, right. So we do have a competition running at the moment. We're inviting you to nominate someone who is very special and to tell us why and why they're deserving of a Cadbury Secret Santa Bar. And if you're successful, they get the bar and you get a beautiful hamper, which I might try and get down to you either today or tomorrow so you can have a look at it. Just a couple of the entrants so far, and just because I read them out, by the way, it doesn't mean they aren't successful. The Cadbury competition, I would like to recommend and put forward Dr. Blank from Letterkenny University Hospital. He's looked after me for a good number of years. I could not rate him highly enough, and I'm very grateful to him. Thanks, Marie. Hi, I'd nominate my beautiful wee mum, Blank. She's 93. She had COVID twice. The heart of our family. We love her to the moon and back. Mum is a heart of gold, always good to everyone, and on it goes. So you're a contender as well. Greg, I think my wife, Blank, should get the Secret Santa chocolate bar because she puts everybody first and leaves herself out all of the time. Another here, I nominate my daughter, who will not be home for Christmas. She's nursing and on duty Christmas Day. Thank you. She's doing great work, but it must be very tough for you as a parent. And last for now, I'd love to send a Secret Santa to a beautiful lady in Dublin who really helped me through my cancer treatment in St. Luke's, even though she was going through the same treatment. This was in the past 2 years. Would love to give her something back. Thank you for that. As I say, you're all in the running. The nominator will win a beautiful Cadbury hamper and will send off a Secret Santa bar to the person who is successfully nominated. So that's thanks to our friends at Cadbury. Okay, we're joined in studio now by Amir Gamil. Good morning to you, Amir. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Greg. Hi,
it's
how's
good
it
to
going?
have you with us. Thanks so much.
Thanks, good to be here. Thank you.
Right, the Muslim community in Donegal is seeking planning permission for a new cultural centre to be located on a greenfield site at Lisnenan in Letterkenny. So what is the function of this centre and how advanced are the plans, Amir?
Right. Well, the function of the centre is really just to provide us a place that we sorely need for the community in terms of just a place to be for all of our activities and stuff like that. And the planning application. What was the question? How advanced is it?
Yeah, it's the planning application.
Yeah. So it's quite advanced in that it's been lodged. So we're looking forward to see what happens next. I guess we hear back from the council within the next 7 to 8 weeks, I guess.
Currently, the community gather at the former offices of the Donegal News at the junction of High Road and Ard O'Donnell for your workshops and meetings, and I presume that serves its purpose, but that's not the long term.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it's good to have that place. We're very happy to have it because, even in this short term, it was absolutely sorely needed. We've been looking for a place for a while, and it was really good to get it. It's satisfying our needs at the moment, but even now, the numbers are a bit too much for that place. So we're having to sort of split certain sessions over 2 sessions and things like that. And then also in terms of just like the other activities that we want to do. So it's great to have it, and it's providing, a very good use and function for the community.
But you have to look to the future.
We have to look to the future
and the needs of the community, which
exactly.
I presume is growing.
Of course it's growing. Yeah, exactly. It's growing all the time. And then in terms of like just, being able to have like the kind of activities like recreational activities and, things like a library and stuff like that.
And a prayer hall as well.
Well, a prayer hall, obviously the prayer hall is one of the main functions of it, obviously. We have we're using the office, that location, the High Road, as, mainly for prayers and other activities. And it's doing okay, but again, we'd like a bigger prayer hall.
How often is a member of the community likely to gather for prayer? I mean, obviously there's different. See, I think people don't realise it's the same with all religions. There are some people who are very, very devout, others are a bit more passive, and others who maybe don't practice a religion at all. So I think there's this presumption, or maybe it is the case, I doubt it, that every Muslim person is is an incredible strong follower of the religion. I presume that's not the case. There's different groups within,
of course,
like every society.
Like any religion, of course, you have many degrees. As you said, from the extremely devout to people who don't care, I guess. But I think generally speaking, I think the vast majority of Muslims will attend prayers on the Friday, which is sort of like our holy day. It's kind of like our Sunday. And so we gather there for Friday prayers at lunchtime, and that's where you see like the greatest numbers. So it's like a requirement that people attend congregational prayer on a Friday afternoon, and thankfully most people do tend to attend that, and then in general Muslims are we believe that we're required to pray to God 5 times a day, so I think it's probably true to say that most Muslims would pray 5 times a day, and then some might pray in the center. Those five daily prayers. We're holding the 5 daily prayers in there each day, and then some might pray it at home or at work, just kind of depending where they are at the time when it's time to pray.
Yeah, and has there been much resistance to this move? Not necessarily through the planning process, which is there and set in stone, and people have to, people have a process to go through if they want to oppose anything and give good reasons as to why, and they have to be specific reasons. But have you had any pushback with the current sort of, I don't know, the way life seems to be right across the world now, where people are resisting this? They're seeing as a, I don't know, I think I saw someone comments on someone's news post about a takeover or something along those lines. Are you getting any of that?
Thankfully, it's been very good, I would say. I mean, of course, there's the odd little bit of, negativity here and there, but I think...
Don't amplify that either. You would believe it to be the minority, absolute minority.
Absolutely, yeah. By and large, the vast majority of people are very welcoming and friendly and, reasonable and peaceful, which is great because, we just all want to live in peace, and we all want to get along with each other. So, yeah, thankfully... mostly it's been good.
And Amir, will this be pardon my ignorance, is this a purpose-built building, or is it adapting a current building?
So the planning for the new site at Lisnenin is going to be purpose-built. Okay. So there's going to be hopefully 2 buildings. So there's going to be like the main building where we'll have like all of the main functions, and in terms of things like like prayer hall and library and bathrooms, coffee dock, offices, stuff like that. And then there's going to be like an ancillary building where we're going to have like recreational activities, so sports and cultural social, get-togethers and all that kind of stuff. Parent and toddler group, which we are already going to be running in the High Road office, but obviously this new location will allow us to run a parent and toddler group, not just for the Muslim community, but open to everybody. And it's another opportunity again for everybody to kind of integrate and get to know each other.
Yeah, I mean, listen, depending on your background, there are going to be certain things that are specific to your background and that you will will enjoy and do with other people of that similar background. But it is important, isn't it, though, that we all live in the community together and there's as much crossover and integration as is possible, because history has shown what happens when we don't do that. And when I say we, I don't mean you, I mean any of us,
right,
with different backgrounds, different cultures, different race, different religions. The more we do things separately, whilst some things are always going to be separate, I think sometimes the more difficult it is to truly live together and with each other.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're big believers in that. We absolutely want to have that kind of integration. So as I said, like the parent and toddler group is one example. We've also had events in the past where we did what we call the fasting challenge, if you remember, during Ramadan, which we need to make sure that we get you in for the next one.
I could get on board with that. At this stage.
For
my winter weight, it's nothing on you.
Well, no. Well, I hide it well with my clothes, But
I need to see your tailor, but go on.
But anyway, but yeah, so in things like that as well, we sort of invite people from the wider community, from the non-Muslim community to come and break their fast with us. So we're big believers in that, because as you say, the only way to really live peacefully together is to live really with each other and interact with each other.
I think it's when any fears or misconceptions are dispelled.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think those who want to divide us often focus on what we might fear most about each other.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Right. So if I'm told that you're a big bad wolf, but I don't know you,
you're more likely to believe it.
Of course I am.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? It's really that basic.
Oh, it really is that basic. Yeah.
You put a load of different kids from all different backgrounds in first year national school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might say, well, why are you whiter than me or why are you browner than me? But beyond that, there is nothing planted in their heads that for them to see each other as different.
Exactly, yeah, that's right. That's I often think about that, actually, that sort of the innocence of children and how they just and just interact with people and just see each other just as other kids,
simply don't know any difference.
Yeah, that's it. So absolutely, you're right. When people, it's natural for people to be afraid of the unknown. And then, as you say, some people like to capitalize on that.
I like rationale. I think rationality or rationale is really good in everything in life. If you try and look at things rationally, be it a fear, it could be a fear of flying, or it could be a fear of whatever your fears or whatever it might be, and even things that are very positive in your life, because sometimes you can get overexcited about things. I just think if we try and employ rationale, It does really help.
Absolutely.
So it's my emotion, a rational emotion.
Absolutely.
Amir, is there of the Muslim community, is there a particular area that they're working in more so in Donegal or elsewhere? Like, what is I mean, obviously, employment is often what's a driver of where we go in our lives.
Yes.
We know that as Irish people to build. We move to London, we move to Scotland, to America, to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
We're drawn out there for nursing or teaching, and it's the same with Dubai and the UAE. Is there a particular area of society that you're more likely to see a Muslim person working?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that, actually, because that's a good point. Actually, if you look at, for example, if you walk into the hospital here, right, you can't turn a corner without seeing a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many Muslims working from all over the world.
It's hundreds, isn't it?
Really?
It's
easily
in the many hundreds.
hundreds of Muslims working in the hospital from all different nationalities. And it has been that way for many years. Like, it's not not just recently, but many years. And not just the hospital here in Letterkenny, but even hospitals all over the country. So certainly the hospital is where you would see a lot of the Muslim population. In addition, there's a lot of software engineers and other types of
dentistry
professions.
As well, actually.
Dentistry absolutely
is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, dentistry. Yeah, there's a good few Muslim dentists here. We also have a lot of Muslim business owners that are contributing contributing to the local economy. So you've got restaurants and takeaways and other businesses run by Muslims. So you have we're like we're a big part of the community here. We provide community services and contribute to the community and the economy and stuff like that. So.
Okay, well, and why do you? I'm sure we invited you. Why did you want to partake in this interview about this development? Is it just to let people know? Is it to sort of say, wow, this is great news? Is it to, I don't know, offset any concerns people might have? Like, why did you think it was important to come in and talk about the development of this facility?
Yeah, well, a little bit of all of that.
Okay.
So that whole, I mean, I suppose it's important that we want the right message to get out there, because I think from what I've heard, I took some advice. Jason Manford, the Mancunian comedian, and I think he said that his uncle once gave him some advice of don't read the bottom half of the internet. So I try not. I try
to the top third.
Yeah, exactly. So I try to follow that advice. But I've heard that there's like a lot of people sort of spreading rumors and stuff like that. So just want to kind of take the opportunity to dispel those rumors, and just to make sure that everybody knows that that this is just a natural kind of evolution of just our community's need in terms of the space we need. And like I said, it's going to be a place for everybody to be together and integrate together, and be peaceful together. And
just on that point about I know like the likes of Musk tries to sort of frame X as the town square and that everyone has a view and all that kind of stuff. But I actually think the way social media is evolving, that it's becoming a very unattractive place to be.
Yeah.
And even people that I would perhaps feel are like-minded to me, it's just the way things are expressed and the rhetoric. Do you know what I mean? It's just I don't like. I'm really finding myself backing out of it.
Yeah,
heading over to TikTok for my sins, because at least it seems frivolous. They might be reprogramming my brain for all I know. I don't care, but you know what I mean. At least it feels like a little bit of fun at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I know
all right, Amir Gamil, is that the correct pronunciation? Gamil.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to get that correct. Yes. Amir Gamil of the Donegal Islamic or Muslim Association?
Letterkenny Islamic Association, is the official name. Yeah.
Letterkenny Islamic Association.
Yeah.
Amir Gamil, it's been very nice having you in, and we wish you the best of success going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Harkins have been providing customers with quality fireplaces, stoves and electric fires for over 30 years. And now you can experience the elegance of luxurious worktop from Harkins. Their experienced craftsmen can fabricate marble, quartz or granite worktops to your specification. So, if you're planning a new kitchen or bathroom or upgrading your existing one, Harkin Fireplaces can provide a quote for your quartz, marble or granite worktop. Visit their showroom in Ballybogan, Lifford, or call 9141109 or visit them online at harkinfireplaces.ie. Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Valcas Energy Wood Pellets 10 kg, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Kiln-dried softwood logs, buy 2 bags for €14. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Carrigdon, the ultimate destination store this Christmas. Shop fabulous fashion, jewellery, gifts and home, all at amazing prices at our stunning new store in the heart of Buncrana. Carrigdon, making spirits bright since 1965. See more at carrigdon.com.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like selected goodies like McVitie's Christmas biscuits, Tato boxes and Fanta 4-pack cans, only 3 for €10. Exclusive to Real Rewards members only. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value. In store or online. T's and C's apply.
It's time to give your favourite bar, pub or music venue the recognition they deserve. Nominate now for the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards at highlandradio.com. Hurry, let's celebrate excellence together. Nominations close on December 13th.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at
20 minutes past 11. Brendan Devaney, presenter of the DL Debate, joins us now. Brendan, good morning.
Good morning, Greg.
As bad as that potato of a webcam that you used to have was, at least it worked. Now there's nothing.
It's saying I'm videoing. It's on. I don't know. I thought it was you didn't want to see me.
No, it's not that. It's just we're going to have to dig up and get yourself a laptop or something. I don't know what we're going to do. But anyway, we'll batter on because
Santa, I'll put it on the wish list.
All right, but if you, I think you might. Well, you are on the good list. But anyway, come here. It's radio. That's all that's important. Okay, Setanta, their intermediate Ulster hurling title victory on Saturday. What an amazing result for the club and the county.
Yeah, listen, Greg, absolutely phenomenal. Donegal hurling, as we say, has been on the rise in many ways, and at county level, at club level, Setanta just say making history, and though haven't won the junior last year, they've done every game in the Ulster as underdogs. Starting with Ballinastream, then Middleton, then Carrickmore, and all these teams have been on the round this title. They all had designs and won this title. So Setanta were by far the most inexperienced side in the group. So they come through each phase, and a late Sean Ward goal was the clincher. So phenomenal stuff, brilliant for them. I mean, to get into this level now, they're facing up the Leinster champions now in an All Ireland semi in a few weeks' time. But for now, great scenes in the cross. So I've been texting a few of the backroom boys, the management and that, just to see who can come on the night. So I'd say it'll be high spirits.
Indeed. And Mickey McCann's on the show as well. It'll be interesting to get his insight as the Donegal hurling boss.
Yeah, exactly. He obviously was doing some work for us at the weekend there. And listen, he's got obviously a brilliant hurling brain and give us a bit of a different take on it in terms of the overall picture of what that means to Donegal club hurling. So always great to chat to Mickey, and again, what a servant he's been like. So I mean, it's a brilliant news story. We've had many attempts at Ulster glory this season, but listen, Setanta's the team that's went and did it. So I mean, absolutely, they deserve so much respect for this history-making victory.
Yeah, whilst we have no Donegal involvement, still a lot of people interested in what's happening in football terms, and you'll be joined by Neil Loughlin from the Irish News. Look forward to next week's final between Scottstown and Glen Mahara, which has the makings of being a cracker.
Yeah, I think the Ulster Championship, just looking to get an overview with now that we don't have our own teams in it, as say Niamh Conall coming so close against Glen in the previous game, and almost all the games there have come down to a point or draws, or there's been very few that haven't gone down to the wire. So it's such a madly competitive competition. Ulster Club is loved, and I think even from everybody around the country, there's such an interest in it compared with other championships because things are so tight. And again, you can't imagine this game coming down to anything but a point. So it's always great to chat to Neil just about the overall competition, and of course leading into this final. Glen are Ulster champions already. What a club on the rise. So a couple of seasons ago they won their first championship in Derry. Here they are. They've played an All Ireland club final last season. They're potentially back to back Ulster champions. So it just shows you what can happen, Greg, with clubs when the right works. But the fruits can be bared. But listen, Scottstown are there in merit, and they put out, I suppose, the other main favourites, Kilcoo as well, and they came through a tight tussle there with Thrillick as well. So now they're on there as merit. That's a very hard game to call. It's a 50-50 like most of the games around Ulster that have gone before it.
Yep, it's a show not to be missed, of course, live just after 7 p.m. You can listen then to the DL Debate as a podcast, live or on demand. It's all in association with Sarah's Kitchen at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. And such is the way the football calendar is now. It's the last show of 2023. There's just a couple of Mondays before before we are into January 2024 then, and it's starting to look forward to again. It's hard to believe, isn't it? It's like Donegal's interest in competitive football only just really concluded, and hurling still to come, of course. But we're already then. What will your focus be in January, Bren? Are we starting to look at the second coming of the Jim McGuinness era?
Well, funny you mention that. I have a special interview lined up with the man himself, Jimmy McGuinness. Yeah, my first show will be myself and Jim talking about the season coming up ahead. So that'll get us off to a good start, Greg. So yeah, listen, it's going to be a fascinating season next season. Obviously the lads are all training away, and the fitness and the commitment now has gone up and up. And I think with Jim coming in now, there'll be such a buzz with Donegal again, particularly after the turmoil of last year. Funny again, just talking about even the likes of, we were mentioning about the turn in Glenn's fortune and how quickly things can change in county. It all seems doom and gloom, and then all of a sudden going into this year, who knows what can happen this year. But certainly Jim and the team he's assembled there, you straight away of the buy-in of everybody. I mean, in terms of the county's been trawled over again in terms of talent and who's going to join the squad. But last year we obviously were missing players, and that certainly is not going to be the case this year. And the team's heading to Tenerife now for a bit of a training camp. Tenerife sounds great, Greg, I think, for everybody listening. But if you're running up sand dunes at 6 o'clock in the morning,
it's not sand either. It's that black gritty stuff.
It mightn't be as nice as it sounds.
Well, it's not a sand dune I ever ran up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Maybe tumbled down one or two. But Bren, without spoiling the interview, and I'm sure you've done it, it is going to be a fascinating season, and maybe not even referencing the interview, but just knowing Jim McGuinness as a person, right? The expectation is huge. People sort of talk about, we need to manage our expectations. There's a building process. Balls for the majority of fans out there, right? We're fascinated to see what can be delivered from the get-go. Is Jim McGuinness the type of person that is aware of that might put any pressure on it, or is he the type of person that's focused? He's got a plan, he's got a job, and that's what he's going to do, and what happens sort of external to that is almost not irrelevant, like he doesn't care, but not part of the plan. Like, what kind of a person is he? What will his approach be heading into the league, the friendlies, the league, and the championship, I wonder?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't think it would bother him at all, because I think he's very confident, and has been even from the first time he took the job, that he was going to deliver what he can. Now, can you just say, listen, you can never say we're going to win Ulster Championship or we're going to win all. You can never actually say that, but what you can do is get the very best out of your players and be tactically aware, and your fitness and your attitude and your composure and all those things that go into making you the best team. And then after that, Greg, it's really down to the small margins. And if you look, I suppose, first of all, we're in Division 2. You want to, at least people want to come out of Division 2, but then you've got a very tough balancing act between coming into that on the right level, because you're going to have a very tough Ulster Championship starting off with Derry straight away, and then going into the Ireland group stages. So there's a lot to marry, but you've got to be careful in that Division 2, because listen, there's no one that's just going to roll over. And of course the bottom couple of sides in that could end up in that Tailteann Cup. So first and foremost is you want to stay up the higher side of Division 2, hopefully get promoted, and then you're right on the Ulster Championship game. So I think for Jim, the pressure wouldn't be on him in terms of the success, because it's like the work and his application is what he needs to do, and then it's up to the players on the pitch to carry that out. But Greg, no more than the Ulster Championship there and the club, you're going to come down to the finest margins. I mean the backstory of
but that's what you want Jim McGuinness to bring, isn't it? It's that 5%, and like Donegal fans are incredibly loyal and they stick by the team and what have you. But there is, there has to be a relationship between the team, the management, and the fans as well. I think they're all intertwined, and I'm not saying that's not there or what have you, but I do believe that's an important part. We would on this show, sort of when the fans' heads are down, games that would go to, they're going to stuff that can't be bothered. I think there's hopefully that strength of relationship will be fully re-established next year. Yeah. And listen, Greg, it's a good point, because I think it's very much changed, say, from our day there,
we would win an odd couple of games, and then there'd be a big fall. You might lose a big final in it, and we wouldn't play well in it. I think the difference is now is we know what level of performance we're going to get from Donegal. Now, as you said, there might be small percentages in that or a bit of magic in a game, but the game's very much changed, that everybody plays to a certain level. The top teams are all at a certain level, and that's why you see even going into last year's games, the likes of the semi-finals, with Derry were there and Monaghan were there. There's not much in it then against teams that are supposed to beat them, because the game has got so much tactical now, and teams are so well set up that no one kind of gets that kind of hammer, or the game kind of goes against them. You rarely see it. So that's why even for Donegal going into this, and if you look at it, as I say, how far on Derry have come, and the likes of Monaghan from last year, and obviously you have Tyrone, Armagh improvement. There's so much, I suppose, intrigue in Ulster. So it's going to be a difficult proposition. But I think, as you're on about what the fans think, I think they're going to be just fully behind the team. And as I say, it doesn't really now going to come down to any pressure on Jim, because he's going to bring all his expertise and brilliance that he has. And it'll be interesting. Like, that's 10 years ago now. So how has he evolved on as what he's seen as well? So will we see some different tactics from Donegal? It's all going to be fascinating to see.
Exactly. And who's to say what percentage Jim being in charge adds to the opposition as well, because of his status and reputation. It's going to be fascinating as always. Brendan, we look forward to tonight's show. Can't wait for 2024. Thanks for chatting to us throughout the year. I'll probably chat to you about something or other between now and the end of the year. I haven't a clue. But either way, thanks very much for coming on and chatting and stuff.
And listen, Greg, thank you as well for every Monday giving the show a bit of advertising. Much
content, Brendan. It's content, and I'm the king of content.
You are the man. You are the man with the master plan. That's it. Cheers.
All right, take care of yourself, Pete. Thanks very much. That's Brendan Depenny there. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Congratulations to Setanta on Saturday. Not the first team to win the intermediate, though. 2001 was the breakthrough. Check the archives. All right, listen, thank you very much for that. Message in on Revolut to give them a PPS number on my account, or my account will be shut down in January. Apparently, it's for tax purposes. I'm a pensioner. What do I do? Well, I can't give you advice that I say follow, right? But Revolut are being required, particularly because they're in the loan market now. So they offer personal loans and what have you. And mortgages, they are required now to gather their users' PPS numbers. If it's through the Revolut app, you're okay, because that is their secure space. And the reason they're asking you for it is not for any dodgy reasons or whatever. It's because they offer loans and mortgages and what have you now, and because of credit ratings and all that kind of stuff, they need to be track their usage. There's money laundering rules in there as well. So that's why, and they're also now have an Irish IBAN. So they're looking for your PPS number through the app. No problem. If you get any texts or emails, give Revolut a ring. But if it's through your app and it stays within the app and you feel safe and secure, I've had to do it. Many people around me have had to do it. And as I say, it's because of rules and regulations that they have to conform to as well. So my suggestion is, so that you can retain it, is to go ahead and, well, I don't want to give you... I've said what I've said, and it's up to you what you choose to do now. Okay, back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
To help with the cost of heating your home during the winter months, the fuel allowance scheme is now available. This allowance is paid at a rate of €33 a week for 28 weeks. To find out more and check your eligibility, visit gov.ie/fuel allowance. The quickest and easiest way to apply is online at mywelfare.ie. One payment per household. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
At Tesco, we're helping you become more Christmas.
Dig into the second tray early and often with Cadbury Milk Tray 360 gram was €10, now €3.50. Stuff stockings to the brim with Toblerone Milk Chocolate Sleeve 360 gram was €6.50, now €3.50. And get into the festive spirit with Coca-Cola cans 20 pack was €18, now €10. Tesco. Every little helps. Club card required, subject to availability. Available in the majority of stores. Prices may vary in express stores. See tesco.ie.
The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose the jacket, have a nice wash, and once they get into shape and get ready, out they go to meet the public, side by side with a nice burger, some fish or chicken. Enjoy Charlie's Chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Hi, Nathan Carter here, and I'm delighted to say I've just had 2 installations from Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, and I have to say their attention to detail is second to none. With their sleek design and craftsmanship, your dream kitchen is just a visit away. So why not head over to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms and let the magic begin.
Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. More kitchens your way since 1996. Visit cherrymore.ie or call 9725 to book your free design appointment. Give the gift of Redcastle Hotel and Spa to your loved ones this Christmas. Choose from a range of memorable experiences to suit all. Visit our website to view and purchase our gift voucher offers and experiences, including our winter getaway offer from only €125 per couple. For more information, see redcastlehoteldonegal.com.
Now, concerns have been expressed at a major reform of driving licences being proposed by the European Commission that would allow teenagers to drive HGVs. The European Transport Safety Council has called for the recommended age for a lorry driving licence in the EU to remain at 21 and the minimum age to drive buses and coaches to be kept at 24. The ETSC, whose members include Ireland's Road Safety Authority, has warned about the dangers of very young motorists being permitted to drive large vehicles. The European Commission has proposed allowing 17-year-olds to begin accompanied training to drive a lorry as part of a road safety package of new legislation governing driving licences in the EU. Ellen Townsend is the European Transport Safety Council Policy Director and is with us now. Good morning to you, Ellen.
Good morning. Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. So why do you have concerns? I mean, if the testing system is robust enough, surely if you're good enough, you're old enough?
Well, 20,600 road deaths on European Union roads last year, and more than 120,000 seriously injured. 1 in 5 of those collisions involve a lorry or a bus. So we're talking about a massive responsibility driving a large, heavy vehicle. So that's our starting point, trying to reduce road deaths and serious injuries. And then, why we are very concerned about it? Well, 2 things. One is there are these recommended ages for truck and bus drivers. So for truck, it's 21. And there are already 5 countries in the European Union where it is possible to already drive those at 18, but with certain attached conditions. And for those countries where that is possible, we have data showing that these drivers, so the HGV drivers, this is in the case of Germany being a very large country, large population, 18 to 20-year-olds caused a much higher number of collisions resulting in personal injury. We're just extremely concerned if this were to be extrapolated to all the European Union. For the moment, this would be an option. And then, yes, just as the government would have to offer this possibility, but 17-year-olds, even accompanied,
So just in relation to those statistics that you used, in the countries that already allow 18-year-olds to drive HGVs under certain conditions, are you saying that we have the statistics of them specifically driving HGVs that shows that more dangerous? Or did you throw in figures there about people in that age category driving generally? Sorry, just to be clear, Ellen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very important point. So we have specific data for the HGV driver set in Germany, but also Poland and Finland, which are real concern. So young drivers for the other category B, the car drivers, are also a big concern. And it's sometimes argued, oh, don't worry, these professional drivers will be within a professional setting. They'll have extra training. But we can see here from this data that they're still higher risk, they're still more involved. And one of the main reasons for this is that the brain development, especially the part that looks at risk, isn't fully developed until, between 21 and 24. So all of this points to the much better common sense, it is common sense as well, road safety approach to say, right, 21 for trucks, 24 for buses, which is
I get you. I do get you. And in terms of the brain development up to 25 and risk aversion and what have you, but we do allow them to vote. We allow them to go to war. We allow them to, work in many fields. If they're good enough to do all of those things, is it fair to cite brain development to preclude them then from driving at a younger age?
Well, let's go back to why this is actually on the table. So for the moment, there's a massive driver shortage in the European Union. And the industry representing these interests are saying we need to improve. Well, we support them on this as well. Now we need to improve the attractiveness of the sector, and one way would be to reduce the age. And this is where we say no. We fully support improving the attractiveness of the sector, but we think to do this we need to improve working conditions, wages, to retain the current workers, but also then to attract in new workers. And we just don't think the risk that you would bring in by allowing 17 accompanied and then as of 18 solo.
It kind of comes down to finance. In other words, the general population could be collateral damage to fulfill a requirement because the industry doesn't want to put its hand in its pocket, really. It's a strong argument. A caller says, yes, I get exactly what Ellen is saying, but in Ireland, you can have a 16-year-old with a provisional tractor licence or a full, driving tractors at 50 kilometres per hour with 2 trailers on. And you do see that, that you do see very young people driving on the roads with very heavy loads, almost that would match what we're talking about here.
Well, I'm sorry to say that we wouldn't. We would also be very concerned about the risk.
2 wrongs don't make a right, I'm sure. Yeah, that's how you might feel. Yeah, okay. We shall see. We're getting a lot of this stuff coming from Europe, and then we have a wee debate about it, and then it disappears. But anyway, I don't know who's picking it up, if it's organisations like yours or the press. But we do. There was another one. Can't remember what it was a week or 2 ago, but here we are. Do you believe this will pass? What is the procedure for something like this coming into law in the EU? Actually, quite interesting. I'd be quite interested in this.
So we're right in the thick of it at the moment. We had the Transport Council with the Irish Minister Ryan there this morning. So the Transport Council, EU ministers adopted their position, which includes this possibility this morning. And then there's a vote in the European Parliament on Thursday. So with Irish members of the European Parliament represented, and they'll be saying yay or nay to the different elements. And this is one of the points where there is a different position, and then they have to get together and negotiate. And we hope we'll get a final decision early in the spring.
Yeah, with anything like this, I always find it interesting to note who's lobbying in favour of something and who's lobbying against it. I think often it can be really quite telling. Okay, thank you for your insight. I really do appreciate it. Ellen Townsend, the European Transport Safety Council Policy Director. So a straight up question to you. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm on the fence here. Do you believe that the minimum age for driving HGVs should be dropped? Do you believe that people under the age of 24 should be allowed to drive buses and coaches? Or do you think it's fair enough to let younger people drive these vehicles? Teenagers driving HGVs, what do you think? Currently you have to be 21. Would you be okay with 18, 19, 20-year-olds? What say you? Your voice is the most important of all, of course. 086 60 25,000. Right, if we close the Cadbury competition for today, we have got so many entries. Someone's going to be selected very shortly. We'll announce the winner. But there's another. The hamper is like this, full of chocolate, right? But I'm saying like this as if you can see me. It's massive. The nominator is going to win that, and then there's a beautiful Secret Santa chocolate bar goes out to the nominee. We've got one winner today. We're going to have another Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the big one, €250 one for all voucher on Friday. So the giving keeps coming.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,550 must go. The snowball is €2,000 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Is fúne atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeann seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanan na méidir cliste, luchtú EV Soalia agus panéil chréine in our net zero hub nua. Déan dúsáid níos soléire, turis níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saoil níos giile. Tuilleadh eolais ag electricireland.ie.
Heading out on the town tonight? Doing some shopping tomorrow? How do you know that the door staff or security guards are vetted, trained and licensed? Individuals licensed by the Private Security Authority must wear an identity badge displaying their licence number and their photo. Unlicensed door staff and security guards face prosecution and fines. To report unlicensed door staff or security guards, visit psa-gov.ie. Issued by the Private Security Authority, the security regulator.
Discover the ultimate experience in the spa orchids at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with our tranquil Japanese-themed garden, rejuvenating massages, revitalizing facials, luxurious spa baths, pampering body treatments, not forgetting the outdoor hot tub and sauna in our secret garden. Visit on a luxury spa day, pop in for some me time, or buy the perfect present with a gift voucher. Relax and let the spa orchids transport you to another world. For more, see holyroodhotel.com. Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo will take place in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel Buncrana this Thursday, 7th of December, in association with iCare. €3,000 must go on the night, including €1,000 to be won on the last house. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. That's Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo, Inishowen Gateway, Thursday, 7th of December.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
It'll be a bright day with some spells of winter sunshine and scattered showers with the chance of a few of hail or sleet, mainly over higher ground. Temperatures 3 to 7 degrees in mostly moderate northwest winds, a little fresher at times, as you might expect in coastal parts. Now, Chief Superintendent Adrian Glacken said there had been just over 1,600 traffic checkpoints set up so far this year, compared to over 2,000 during the same period last year. He was challenged, but Superintendent Glacken said checkpoints are losing their efficacy because of flashing light warnings and social media, saying a checkpoint's only effective for 20 minutes. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you, as a motorist, I would see flashing for speed vans. Often the checkpoints are located in places, no matter how well you're flashed, you'd have to lift that, well, not literally lift the handbrake, but you'd have to do a U-E to avoid them. And also, I don't really see much warning on social media anyway. But listen, that's the view of Superintendent Adrian Glacken. He was challenged on his views by Joe Boland, who's the Donegal PPN representative on the Joint Policing Committee. And Joe's accepted our invite onto the show this morning. Hiya, Joe.
How's it going, Greg?
I'm doing all right. So what's your view? Good. Adrian Glacken said there's a reduction in traffic checkpoints. He says they're losing their efficacy because of people flashing and warnings on social media. Do you buy that?
No, I don't. One of the things when he said about the flashing lights, as you said there yourself, that most people that do flashlights as far as the Go Safe fans, very rarely for a guarded car. Garda's checkpoint. The second thing he's saying about the efficiency between 15 and 20 minutes, that's I can understand that, but the problem then is, and apparently, when they finish at 15 minutes, they go back to base or go somewhere else. They don't have checkpoints anywhere else. So our argument was that surely if it is only 15 minutes at one area, they can go somewhere else for another 15 minutes and then somewhere else for another 15. That would, to us, that would be twofold. It would help people. One, it might reduce the traffic incidents of traffic bad behaviour. Secondly, it would also deter potential criminals or burglars from going to an area, because the Gardaí are floating around and they don't know where they're going to be at that particular time.
Can I make a point on that, Joe, if you don't mind? Because I presume what the Gardaí are trying to say is you just don't know when you might see a checkpoint. They could pop up anywhere for 15 or 20 minutes and then, people will say, well, I better be a good driver then. But the way I think, they're so random and scattered, you never see them. People don't think they could pop anywhere. People think they simply won't pop up and don't adjust their behaviour, or criminals feel that they can run roughshod over Donegal. If the policy is to sort of have them where you simply don't know where they might be, I don't think that's working. I think that's failing, because to be honest with you, I would almost be shocked to see a checkpoint, not fear there might be one there.
Exactly. If you break it down to per day, it's just over 4 checkpoints in the county of Donegal per day. And if you take out of that the checkpoints, which are, obviously we all see it at Manacunningham, Burt, and maybe Ballyshannon, that's 3 out of that 4 every day. So it means that the whole of the county is never covered. I live in a rural area myself, and I haven't seen a Garda car driving in my area since an incident 3 years ago. And I'm just 2 miles off the main thoroughfares, So they're not going out to the rural areas. Yes, there is a few checkpoints. I think it's 1,635, he said, were drug and alcohol-related checkpoints, and there's 1,049, I think it was, for ordinary checkpoints for tax, insurance, and whatever else behaviour. But they're not been held. They're not been held in the county wide. They're held in the big towns like Letterkenny, Buncrana, Ballyshannon, possibly somewhere else. But the rest of the county has not been covered at all. And you'll find, and even in my area, you see a lot of the potential criminal drivers, or what do we call them, driving in the back roads to avoid the checkpoint that they know is going to be at wherever it is, So they're not in the rural Ireland. And
look, if you want, if you listen, the only checkpoints I've seen on a Sunday morning or the customs checkpoints. Now, if you want to avoid a customs checkpoint, I can tell you where there's one going to be with a level of regularity. Do you know what I mean? It's not rocket science. And as I say, you might bump into one on a Sunday morning, but that's the only time I've ever seen them. And also to... So what did he say in response to that? I'll get to my point, but I want to know what he said in response to what you...
I'll be honest, he deferred. He didn't actually answer it. Now, I'm not blaming him or the Gardaí. I know there's only 24 traffic Gardaí in the county, and they're widespread.
I think that's dropped by. I think that's actually dropped by 2 recently as well. I'm not sure if the 24 is the new figure or the old figure, but they're down 2 anyway. So,
right. Well, you're probably right. So they can't be everywhere. We understand that, but whenever the Gardaí are out on a tour or a drive around the county or wherever they're going, it wouldn't be a remiss of them to stop for 10 or 15 minutes in different areas to at least let people know. It also alleviates fear from older people and people who live in rural areas that are isolated.
Yeah, I think the problem is the problem, though, when you see the amount of guards we have, how many of them can be on duty at any one time and then take annual leave, sick leave out of it. There's simply not enough guards. The superintendent's hands are probably tied, and maybe he can't say it, and we're not speaking on his behalf, and I don't know what he thinks, but there probably simply isn't the resources to have people walking on the streets, because people want to see guards walking up and down Ballybofey or Lifford or Letterkenny or wherever it might be. They also want them out on the roads. If you look at the numbers and you look at the spread of the county, they're just simply not there.
No, I agree with you. The numbers have reduced a lot, and yes, the chief superintendent spoke about that on Friday and said that he submits his submission every year for new recruits to come to Donegal. But I think it was Deputy Pierce Doherty said the last day that only 3 in the last 4 or 5 years are riding Donegal, and that there's people looking for transfers. I call on this one part is that I call for all our councillors and our TDs to lobby, as well as community people, at national level to look at the Gardaí and say, look, we need the resources. Yes, there is a lot in Dublin, the minute, and a lot of issues in Dublin, and the Gardaí have been kept there, but there are a lot of issues all over the county and the country as well that have been forgot about. And maybe not forgot about, but they've been left to the last leg, because nobody's there to support them, and the Gardaí are trying their best. The Gardaí in Donegal are doing great work for what they can do, yes, but there are things that they can do with the numbers they have that will utilise their time and also maybe make it more secure for the county.
Okay, I think we're all sort of, and I would probably count the senior guards in this. We're all kind of pulling in the same direction. They would love more resources as well. But you're sort of saying, well, can we change how we use the resources that we have? Joe, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Have a good day.
Take care. You too, Joe. That's Joe Boland, Donegal PPN representative on the Joint Policing Committee. Have you a view on that? Let us know. 08660 25,000. Right, we have our winner of the Secret Santa competition, thanks to our friends at Cadbury. I think that this person deserves the delivery of the Secret Santa bar. My beloved granny, a remarkable woman who recently celebrated her 80th birthday, is truly deserving of the chocolate bar from Highland Radio's competition. Despite reaching this incredible milestone of turning 80, she continues to embody the spirit of selflessness and community engagement. Every month, she organises a quiz for a different charity, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to making a positive impact in the world. Her dedication to community work is awe-inspiring as she remains actively involved in various initiatives. With a family as vast as and loving as hers, consisting of 9 children, 20 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren, her kindness and generosity have touched the lives of many. A small token of appreciation like the chocolate bar would be a sweet acknowledgement for the love and joy she spreads within our family and our broader community. We've probably given it away. It's supposed to be a secret, but if that lady is listening, I wanted to hear it from us as well. So well done. She's going to win a lovely wee gift, but also for you nominating, you are winning a very luxurious Cadbury hamper. And you know what? Maybe you can bring it round to Granny's and share it with everybody. I think that's what most people will be doing. Anyway, it's a lovely competition. It gives us a chance to tell people why they're important to us. It's back with you tomorrow. It's back with you tomorrow just after... it's back with you tomorrow throughout the entire show. Another fantastic hamper to give away. I wanted to mention, by the way, because this time next Monday, the stage will quite literally be set for our amazing Christmas concert. Just 1 week to go. It's in the Mount Errigal Hotel, a beautiful venue. It's on Monday the 11th of December. It starts at 7:30pm. The doors open at 7:30pm with the show starting at 8:30. Michael English will be there, John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, David James, Jack Keogh. It's going to be a brilliant night. Tickets are flying out the door. There are a few remaining with tickets only. Get them at the Mount Errigal or online at highlandradio.com in the outlets section. We want to see you there. It's going to be a cracking night. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 9. Have a wonderful day, please, and be safe and happy if you can. John Breslin's coming up after 12 around the